NASCAR is back in Michigan, back in the shadow of the Motor City. In Detroit, horsepower is forged through manpower. Today, they come together. Their engines hit full song. The real music of Motown.
Well, not the Supremes or the Temptations or Smokey Robinson, but the sound of 900 horsepower Ford, Chevys, and Dodges. The true sound of Motown. Those engines will be screaming at one of NASCAR's fastest tracks shortly. Drivers and teams making final preparations for what could be a record-setting day. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Alan, how about our pole sitter, Mark Martin, who at the age of 53 years, 7 months, and 10 days today could become the oldest driver ever to win a NASCAR Sprint Cup race. Now, ironically, it was 20 years ago this weekend that Harry Gant set that mark right here at the age of 52. And if you think these drivers are going to be easy on the old man, guess again, because Carl Edwards said Mark may be the oldest driver in the field, but he can still bench press more than anybody else in the garage area. In fact, he said growing up, many of us were Mark Martin fans. We used to play with toy Mark Martin cars in our driveways when we were little. He said, in fact, I'll bet you my kids will grow up and someday they'll race Mark Martin and they'll be just as frustrated as I am because they can't beat him either. That's how much they respect this guy. Here's Dave Burns.
Doc, 4 races to go until the chase. I had a crew chief tell me this weekend, I'm not going to believe I'm in the chase till they get one of those black and yellow caps for me. Well, this is such a cap. This is awarded to the driver who clinches his way into the sprint for the chase for the Sprint Cup. They'll give them to the driver and the crew chief today if they clinch their spot. There are 4 drivers who can do that. Now, it's a small gesture by NASCAR, but it has a big message. You could be the 2012 champion. Alan?
Want to clinch the cap today for a chance to chase the cup. One of the stories that will follow throughout this Pure Michigan 400. Now, Tony Stewart, after clinching the cup last November at Homestead, when he had his big, champions party out in Las Vegas at the end of the season. We've talked a lot about Michigan here. Watch while I tie all this together. He had a Michigan musician with him as one of his guests who performed at the Sprint Cup Awards ceremony and who serves as the Grand Marshal for today's race. We go trackside to get those famous words to start today's race from Tony's buddy.
Race fans, it is time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, your Grand Marshal, rock and roll icon and Michigan's own Kid Rock.
God bless Michigan. Gentlemen, start your engine! Yeah!
Yes, sir, I do. All right, let's get ready there, bud. That orange looks like it.
With enthusiasm, we are ready to race today in Michigan. Now, I've had several home state references already to Grand Marshal, the manufacturers, and now our ESPN in-race reporter for the day, Brad Keselowski, a native of Rochester Hills, a Detroit suburb, already a 3-time winner this season. But Brad says a win at this track would be a big deal for he and his family. We talk with Brad Keselowski on the Pace Laps at Michigan next.
In the end, sports is a chemistry experiment. How does the athlete fit in with the team, coach, or the boss? What kind of mix do they make on game day? Unbearable or unstoppable? Some teams never find that right combination. But when they do, oh man, it's beautiful.
Now, some great sporting combinations there, and many in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Garage field. That Brad Keselowski and his crew chief Paul Wolfe have that championship chemistry. There are ESPN in-race reporters today, and they come into this race on quite a roll. Longest top 10 streak of all drivers. Brad, 6 consecutive top 10s now, starting with that big win at Kentucky. Let's talk to him.
Brad, Dale Judge, the ESPN. You with us?
Yes, sir, Dale. How are you?
I'm great, Brad, and we appreciate you talking with us today. As we get to our mailbag question, I think you'll probably agree with me that there's a lot of crew chiefs down that garage area that would like to think they were race drivers or would love to be one. And that leads us to our question here. Paul in Milford, New York asked, what kind of advantage does having a former driver as your crew chief give you?
Well, I think it's huge because you can kind of have those hidden communications where you kind of both know what each other are thinking without saying anything. And Paul and I think, have that. I think it's a big advantage in so many different ways, and we have great chemistry that comes from it. I respect him, and he respects me, and because of that, I think it takes our relationship to a whole nother level to be the best we can.
Hey, Brad, I know you had a race back here in June on this new surface, and I know this is a different tire. As the speeds have ramped up, you don't have nearly the racing room that you once had on this track yet. It hasn't widened out. Has that brought the stress level up inside that cockpit a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. The first few laps and restarts are, they're really crazy, to be quite frank, Dale, because going down into turn one that you've got to find your way into that main groove where all the rubber's at. That's that big black patch right in the middle of the track. If you don't find your way into that groove, you're either going to spin out or wreck, or you're going to lose a bunch of positions trying to make sure you don't. So it's a dogfight into turn one to get that groove and to find it, and from there you can go race.
All right, Brad, you have a great, safe day out there. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief and that former driver, Paul Wolf.
Thank you, Dale. It's great to be back in Michigan, and I want to send my thoughts out to these guys. A couple of people in the garage that are fighting some illnesses, and our thoughts are with you, and so are our prayers. Get well soon.
Hey, Brad, it's Andy in the booth. You have us here? I'm sorry, I was talking to Paul. It's one racing crew chief to another, Paul. It's Andy in the booth, if you got us.
I got you loud and clear. I knew who you were calling for.
Okay, Paul. Hey, you guys have really raced the last 6 races very, very strong and pretty well locked yourself into this chase. How will you approach these next 4 weeks? Will you just kind of tune on what you have, or are you going to try some new things?
Obviously, everybody's worked hard over the last month, and we've had results to show for that. So it's put us in a position where we need to try some things. We know we need to be a little bit faster to be able to be a legit contender when it comes to chase time, and we're going to continue to try some things, and just got to thank everybody back at the shop. We put a lot of pressure on them here to help us find some speed, make better race cars, and everybody's stepping up, and that's what it's going to take to be able to contend. So a lot of hard work, and making the right calls today, and hopefully we can get us another good finish.
Well, you've been making a lot of good calls here lately, Paul. We appreciate you talking to us. Good luck today.
All right, thanks a lot, Andy.
And from our in-race reporters to our over-the-wall reporters, actually in his second race of the weekend, Ben Fetzer is carrying front tires for Bobby Labonte in the 47 car. Montreal Saturday, Michigan Sunday. Have a good, safe race today, Ben. We look forward to watching the pictures. And as we get ready to see how this race unfolds, there has been one dominant topic of conversation in the NASCAR Sprint Cup garage all weekend long. The new pavement put down on this racetrack for this season, the blazing fast speeds that have resulted, the tire problems from the June race, the different tire specification Goodyear has brought for this race. It's all anybody's talked about.
Yeah, Alan, I was in the garage area talking to these drivers both Friday and Saturday. That was the whole topic of conversation. The speed that you carry into the corners, the speed that it continues to carry, and just what's going to happen. They know if they get their car free enough to turn in the center of the corner, that's going to be loose. And over 200 miles per hour into these corners, that's a handful for these drivers.
It is, and the speed staying there. It doesn't fall off. It's not like you can wait on the track to come to you. The speed stays right there, and it's going to be a kind of a game for the crew chiefs to play as far as strategy. When that track stays so fast, you don't really need tires to go any quicker, so you're going to see a lot of that. And plus these engines, they're really stressed here. You're not out of the throttle very long at all. They turn a lot of RPMs, and we've already seen a few problems there.
Now, given the narrowness of the racing groove, the high speeds, the difficulties of the track, two of the sport's heavy hitters, Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., are starting at the back of the field. Can they get through the traffic and get to the front?
Absolutely can. These Hendrick cars are probably the fastest cars on the racetrack if you pull some of the people in the garage area. I think they're not going to have any trouble coming up through there. Jimmy's car has been really fast on these high-speed tracks lately, and the 88 car won here the last time. I don't think they'll have any trouble getting there.
Yeah, you talk about it is a narrow groove, but you can run side-by-side through these corners. It just slows you down a little bit. But if you'll remember back to June when Dale Earnhardt Jr. won this race, he made an early pit stop because his car wasn't handling properly. So he went to the back and worked his way to the front. So yes, they can come from the back, and we're going to have a great time watching them do it.
Johnson and Earnhardt Jr. with a couple of our great high-definition onboard views for this race. Brad Keselowski, our in-race reporter, is carrying the Dodge onboard camera today. Brad in the office. Tony Stewart, the fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood camera. Clint Boyer has the 5-hour energy camera. And Greg Biffle has the Coke on board. Matt Kenseth has the Ford EcoBoost camera. Kevin Harvick with the Jimmy Johns on board. And the aforementioned Jimmy Johnson with our Lowe's camera, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the Chevy on board. Couple more quick stories from pit lane on the final pace lap of the race. Mike?
You know, Alan, when it just appeared that Jeff Gordon's luck had improved, well, misfortune struck again last week in Watkins Glen. On the final lap, he hit oil, and as he slid through the corners and spun, he ultimately slipped in the standings all the way down to 15th. Subsequently, he finds himself now trying to regain traction in the wild card hunt. Today, Gordon rolls off 11th, looking for a much-needed win, one that would no doubt grease the tracks toward another chase berth. Vince Welch?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in a backup car, and his crew chief, Steve Letarte, is stressed. Letarte says it feels like the night before the first practice. You think you've got a good race car, but you're not really sure. One thing is for certain, Letarte did not play it safe and go with a conservative setup. No, the 88 and not point racing today. They're in it to win it.
All right, Vince, thanks. And a reminder that you can check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage today live from Michigan. Follow your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. 400 miles, 200 laps. We'll keep track of speeds. They won't fall off much over the course of a fuel run. And as always at this racetrack, fuel and pit strategy, very critical factors in determining the outcome of the race. The pole sitter Mark Martin has chosen to start on the outside lane as the pace car hits pit road, and we are set to start the Pure Michigan 400. Martin to the lead, side by side for second, and through for second. Carl Edwards ahead of Matt Kenseth, 99 and 17. Carl slipping wide.
Yeah, you don't want to get out of that groove. Just the right side tires into that grade can send you out of control.
Yeah, these first few laps that these drivers have been making, they say that cars are really out of control for at least a lap or two until the tires kind of come in.
There's a familiar Michigan scene. 3-4 wide down the front stretch into turn 1.
Now the groove did widen out some, not that much, but did widen out some after the truck race yesterday, but it was actually the bottom of it came in some more. Those trucks were running a little bit lower, so it got a little bit better groove down there.
Looks like Carl Edwards is doing his part to widen it out on the top side.
He's trying.
Yeah, he's been up there.
I don't think he means to be.
Boy, look at that.
Oh, Ambrose in
that's
the 9.
real trouble, yes. That's what we'll see a lot of here at Michigan. The high speeds, you get side by side, the air just doesn't get to the spoiler, and that inside car gets extremely loose.
Yeah, and they've taken those side skirts and raised them up, and that's kind of what it causes. You get this, you lose that side force and down force, and these high speed, making these high speed passes like that, the cars are very unstable in that position. Kevin Harvick with a wiggle and wobble off turn 2. Gathers it up. Ambrose, by the way, 9th to 19th. Just with that bobble in 3 and 4, but a nice save. Here's second place, a number that a lot of folks had on their lips this morning in the garage area as a potential winner. 5, Casey Kane.
Yeah, I talked to Kenny Francis, crew chief on his 5 car, and he was talking about they had tested up here, thought everything was going to be great the first run. They went out there and were out of control. He said he couldn't believe how bad the car looked. He looked on the board and he was 5th.
Yeah, this is a Casey Kane type track. Momentum, out of the gas very little. He really finds a lot of speed in this race car, and it seems to get better throughout the day.
'24 Jeff Gordon had a little wiggle and bobble in turn 2 on the opening lap, backed up a couple of spots. Now he might lose a couple more. Biffle in the 16, Keselowski in the 2.
Yeah, as you can imagine, the draft plays a huge effect here with speeds over 200 miles per hour, well over 200 miles per hour as they enter these corners.
RPMs, they don't drop. Just about 8,000 is the lowest you see the RPMs come down. And you're in the throttle so long. So at such high speed. That's why it's such a hard place on the engine.
Watch that miles per hour number.
Wow.
Oh, trouble in the grass. Caution out, David Gilliland in trouble off turn 4.
Looks like he got away with it.
Watch your cams there. You probably got grass everywhere.
David Gilliland running in 28th position off of turn number 4. And spun around into the infield grass. Looks like that's front splitter and so on. Still in good shape.
Yeah, just a little bit loose. Got a car right up on his rear bumper. Eric Almirola there loosened him up just enough. Oh, Sam Hornish just slips by. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know that was all aero. That could have been a little bit mechanical, too. Looks like he may have made some contact. I'm not sure that the 43 didn't get into him just a little bit.
I don't know how he didn't hit him right from this point in time. Watch the move Sam Hornish in this 22 makes.
The wheels are turned to the right. Now he's going to turn to the left.
Sam said, uh-oh, I got to do something quick.
Yeah, you're thinking about this point as a driver. This isn't going to turn out too good. You're expecting to get hit in the right rear, which is just going to send you head on into the wall. But fortunately for Sam and for David, that didn't happen.
Those big roof flaps designed to slow the car down quickly when it gets turned around sideways and backwards. Because you saw the 175 center of the corner's slowest speed for Brad Keselowski just on that lap before. Early caution at Michigan. Mark Martin has led all the laps so far. Doubled up for the restart in the Pure Michigan 400 after the first caution of the race came out at lap 5 when David Gilliland spun off of turn 4. Which driver do you think will take first out of this week's top 4 qualifiers? Mark Martin, Carl Edwards, Jimmy Johnson, and Matt Kenseth. Text FAST to 34763 or go to AT&TFastestDriver.com to play. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs by playing along in today's AT&T Fastest Driver Challenge. Every week you have a chance to make your pick and see where you stack up against the rest. 24th place Juan Pablo Montoya was the first one onto the pit lane. Hornish and Ruderman and Quapple, Jimmy Johnson, TJ Bell, Casey Mears, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and David Gilliland, the other drivers that pitted under the early caution. What was it Brad Keselowski said to us about restarts? Got to grab all you can as fast as you can?
Yeah, boy, as fast as they're going, you just want to make sure that you don't slide out. You can't give up. You know, if you don't go in there hard enough, then you're going to get passed also. So nerve-wracking time for these drivers.
Martin 55 choosing the outside lane. Kenseth 17 to his left. Truex in the 56 as he races with Casey Kane in the 5. That's Paul Menard in the 27, trying to follow along in the draft. Menard to 4th. Kane to 5th. Carl Edwards right behind him. So I mentioned on the pace laps that Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. had to go to the back of the pack. Also falling to the rear on the pace laps were Eric Almirola in the 43 because they had a crash here and are racing the backup car. And Sam Hornish in the 22. Parker Kligerman practiced and qualified that car while Sam was up in Montreal focusing on the NASCAR Nationwide Series race where he's right in the thick of the championship.
how hard is that, Dale, just to come from a road course, not have a lap on a track, and come to a track so much different with all the speed and just dive in here with no practice?
Yeah, it certainly makes it a real challenge, and Sam's done a great job. The one thing that he did have on his side, there was a test here about 3 weeks ago, and Sam was here for that. So he is a little bit familiar with the new pavement and everything, and with the race car.
Oh, look at this, getting close. A couple of guys who had great qualifying runs. Trevor Bain in the Wood Brothers 21. Landon Castle in the BK Racing 83. Had the bobble. Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart going to go by him.
You get down on the inside and get pinned down there, you just lose so much momentum. It's hard to make that up. And it's almost like you're getting freight trained on that outside before you can get back up to speed and get your RPMs back up.
Kevin Harvick on board with him. Right behind Jeff Gordon and Joey Logano in the orange 20, ducking to the inside.
I think you really saw the effect of the draft right there when Tony Stewart stuck in the middle. Not able to keep up with that line.
There is Greg Biffle in the 16. Marcos Ambrose, last week's winner, in the 9. This is a pretty good bit back in the pack. This is for 19th and 20th.
Yeah, these are the 2 fastest cars here earlier in the year. Seemed like they were trading back and forth the fastest laps. I talked to Sammy Johns on the 9 car, one of the managers over there, and asked him why they weren't as fast as they were. And he said it was because the tire is different and it really changed the way their car handles. He said he felt like Greg was still just about as fast as he was, but it felt like they were off just a little bit with the 9 car.
It's always been a great track for Greg Biffle, and he will be there. He was very excited about his race car yesterday in practice, and he felt like that when it came time to win this, he would be a part of that mix.
That's Kurt Busch right behind Greg Biffle. Kurt in the 51 had a spin here on Saturday in practice. Didn't hit anything. Tell you who's really been moving up through this field. Whoa, hang on, Kurt. Yeah, okay. Watching Biffle and Logano sort that out. Here's a guy that has been on the move since the start of this race. Jimmy Johnson started in the back, was all the way up to 25th before the caution at lap 5, pitted. Now he's digging away on some more, Dave.
Alan, car just a tick tight for Jimmy. They put a piece of tape on when he came down pit road under the caution. No fresh tires, full of Sunoco fuel. I asked his crew chief, Jack Knaus, this morning. I said, do you make him a lot freer to start the race in the pack versus out front? And he said, you know, a little, but you have to consider this isn't a long race. I might get 4 opportunities to help him during the day, and during this, what I call a short race, according to Chad, I've got to have the car pretty right to start with. Andy, maybe you can relate. You don't want to have him too far outside the box.
We were all mesmerized, Dave, while you were doing that report. 2:13 was the number on the telemetry for Jimmy Johnson screaming into turn 1. We were all looking at the number going, can you believe it?
Yeah, and Dave's right. You don't want to get that. I mean, you think, you know the car's going to be back in traffic, but if you free it up too much, he's not going to be able to utilize the power and the things that they have. So you have to stay somewhat close to that and make adjustments as this track changes throughout the day. I personally would rather have a little tighter car in that situation and just utilize the strengths that I have.
I was going to say, you could probably make more passes early in traffic if you have a car that's tight. If you're chasing the back end and you're trying to keep from wrecking, you're not going to make up a lot of spots.
Mark Martin out in front after qualifying on the pole. He's led all of the laps so far, but we're still very early going in the Pure Michigan 400. Just about 50 miles into the Pure Michigan 400. Mark Martin has led every lap. There's the gap to Matt Kenseth, first to second. Mark Martin looking for his first win since September of 2009. Kurt Busch in the 51. Saw him have a wild slide off turn 4 a couple of minutes ago. Well, he just had another one. That was off of turn 2.
Yeah, that's a hard hit right there. I know these cars are very durable, but I'm not sure how much of that they can take.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard lick.
Looking to see if there's any fender rubs or tire smoke or anything like that, Doc.
They're not reporting anything right now, Alan. In fact, Kurt's issue was the car just a little bit free. He's also got a radio problem. He can hear the spotter, he can hear the crew chief, but they can't hear him, and probably it's a good thing right now. He's probably not real happy trying to hang on to this race car, but they also can't hear from him what he needs done with the car. They have signaled him to say, hey, just use the old-fashioned signals, rub the roof if it's tight, rub the door if it's loose. Otherwise, we'll do the best we can when you're on pit road.
I copied you clear there. I got you tight.
So Kurt Busch, he was running 20th when he was slipping up against the wall. Hanging on in 22nd position now. A little bit from pit stop, so let's take a break. Come back for the green flag trips down the pit lane. Back at the Pure Michigan 400, race fans, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live from Michigan today. Follow your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. Mark Martin out in front of Matt Kenseth by 2.5 seconds. Mark started on pole, has led every lap so far, including holding on to the lead through a restart after the only caution of the race through its first 60 miles. His last lap was 191 miles an hour and change for an average speed. Fastest lap of the race that Mark has run, 196.9 miles an hour. So when we talked about the tires holding their speed over a run, they're almost to the end of this fuel run, and he's still running over 190 mile an hour average.
Yeah, I was looking at these lap times, and they have dropped off a little bit more than what we saw in practice, but they're still holding their speed pretty well.
Look at that. 191.3.
Yeah, they've got a lot of sun here today, and their practice sessions both yesterday ended before noon time, so the track didn't heat up as much. Plus, they had that truck race, so I think they're probably seeing a little slicker racetrack than what they saw because they really haven't been quite as fast with that highest speed as what they were in that practice. I think we'll probably see a few adjustments on some of these cars coming up. They're going to try to keep up with this guy right here.
So there's Mark. There's Matt Kenseth in second, Martin Truex in third, Casey Kane in fourth, and Paul Menard running in 5th position in the Childress 27. Looking for his first top 5 of this season.
Yeah, and obviously one of those drivers sitting outside the top 10 that would love to get to victory lane and put himself in that talk for the mix for the chase is who's going to get in, how many wins is it going to take to make that happen, but you got to get the first one first.
He's 16th in points. And the round of green flag pit stops looks to have begun. Here's Joey Logano in, Mike.
And Joey has been pretty unhappy with his race car so far during this first run, saying he just cannot get into turn 3 like he could in practice. They're going to take 4 tires and also make a track bar adjustment, trying to bring the car back to his liking as Joey's team now completes its work on the left side of that car. A bit of a slow stop on the 20, but they're trying to fix it up and make it a little bit better.
Carl Edwards in the 99, he says it's tight off the gas. They're going to go up on the track bar, also make an air pressure adjustment. It's a 4-tire change. Doc.
Greg Biffle on pit road. Biffle, a 2-time winner here, said, you know what, the car's pretty good. Going to make an air pressure change for the Biff. He said, otherwise, don't change a thing. I love it the way it is. Mike.
Marcus Ambrose complaining of a very loose race car. We saw it earlier in the run. Saw a big wiggle out of the back. They'll take just 2 tires.
5-car of Casey Kane is in. They put in the first can of Sunoco fuel. They'll go for a second. They will go for 4 fresh tires, a spring rubber out of the right rear, actually into the right rear because he was tied off the corner, and an air pressure adjustment as well. Mike.
Jeff Gordon pretty happy with his race car, although he says it's pretty tight when he's behind other race cars. Says it's good, but doesn't think it's good enough at this point. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and a 4-tire change.
Mark Martin in from the lead. There's Kenseth, Doc.
Our leader on pit road, that'll be Mark Martin coming in. Mark said the car was perfect initially. The balance was perfect, turning well. But he said the car began to get tight. And 2 laps ago, he said now the car has gotten free. So they're going to make an air pressure change, but a minimal change. Clark said don't change much. Left side tires down and away. How about Ryan Newman, Vince?
The 39 of Ryan Newman just pulling away after a 4-tire change. Also made an air pressure adjustment. He said it's just too free right before the center and then tight on the brake.
Denny Hamlin Leaving pit road also as Brad Keselowski has assumed the race lead. This something at a track where fuel mileage races can happen with more frequency than at a lot of other tracks, was something on the minds of a lot of folks in the garage area as well. The mileage that these Penske Dodges seem to get.
Yeah, they do. They seem to get a little bit more, like 2 or 3 laps here on average. Is what I've kind of, through my investigating, found out that they can go a little farther.
Well, let's see. Mark Martin pitted at 36. This is the completion of the 38th lap. So it'll be 39 laps for the 2-car.
That's a pretty good range when you consider they ran those pace laps and the warm-up to get started. They'll be able to go farther than that next time.
We'd heard that they could get somewhere close to 40 laps, Andy, and that looks like to be the case. That's just what they would tell them.
Yeah, if you can go 40 laps, you can break this thing up, make 5 pit stops.
55-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit today. As Keselowski comes onto pit road from the lead, Jimmy Johnson is going to cycle to the #1 spot as the 2 comes in for a stop. Mike?
And early in the run, he radioed in saying he was fighting some stability issues. Later saying he feels like he had a little bit too much air pressure in the right front, so they'll make a change there. And they'll fill it up with Sunoco Race Fuel, 4-tire stop. Also, they'll make a chassis adjustment on the 2-car for Keselowski. They complete the stop in just about 13.5 seconds before he's away.
So remember, we had the caution earlier at lap 5, and we had about a dozen cars that pitted under that yellow, mostly from 24th on back in the lineup at that time. Jimmy Johnson now, one of those cars, is in the lead, and he's got another 5 to 7 laps before he'll have to come to pit road.
And that'll help him later in the race because he'll be able to make possibly one less pit stop than most of the leaders, except maybe Brad Keselowski.
Jimmy Johnson gives up the race lead for a green flag pit stop, Dave.
There'll be a chassis adjustment for Jimmy. His car's still a bit tight, tick tight, and maybe just a 2-tire stop because the command was given, don't slide your tires. That indeed is the case. Vince?
The 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. said it's just tipping over on the right front. Doesn't take off too bad, but he doesn't like the way it feels on the right front. It's a 2-tire change, waiting on the gas, waiting, and finally away for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Sam Hornish Jr. has the lead now. When he pits, it'll be Mark Martin who will go back to the top of the scoreboard. Again, Sam starting at the back of the field because Parker Kligerman qualified this car on Friday afternoon while Hornish was in Montreal. Hearing from pit lane, we'll see the 22 on the pit road this time for his stop. So that'll cycle things back around to Mark Martin and Martin Truex, who has passed Matt Kenseth since the pit stop.
See Sam right there try to get all that he could. Actually travel around the corner as far as he could, but got the car a little out of shape. Safely on pit road now.
It's got to go all the way down toward the turn 1 end of the pit road. Watching that tack. And making sure not to nudge over that speed limit. And here he is, Doc.
How about Sam Hornish from Montreal not having a lap on the car, back of the pack, now the leader as he comes on the pit road. Sam says the car needs to be tighter in, but freer off. We're going to make a minor air pressure change as you watch him change tires and top it off with Sunoco fuel. An air pressure change in the right front. He's down and away. 13.5 seconds, guys.
All right, so as Hornish goes back on track, the net result of this whole cycle of pit stops, Mark Martin had a 2.6-second lead over Matt Kenseth when the cycle began. Now he's got a 5-second lead over Martin Truex after the cycle is all completed.
Yeah, but that lead actually closed up as far as Mark and Kenseth was. Kenseth was right on Mark's bumper coming out of the pits, but that just shows how fast Mark is on the track.
That's what I was going to say. It looked like that the 17 was going to actually pass Mark coming out of the pits, and now Mark's pulling a big lead on him, and now Truex is in second.
17 slipped back to third, Dave.
He was back to fourth, Alan, so I guess he's one of those guys who wasn't one of the big winners on the round of pit stops. He kind of wondered about the handling immediately after he left pit road. Here was his radio conversation.
Sorry, it's so tight I can't even make a corner here, so tires get built up. Yeah, at least
on cold tires, you made it way, way worse. Can't even turn it into the corner down there, so hopefully it'll get better. Did you make any other adjustments, Jimmy?
Just let air out of the full front, a half.
Part of the problem Matt complained before the round of pit stops was the car felt on top of the track, like the tires were overinflated. Well, they got the air out, but it's tough to handle right now.
Yeah, a lot of these teams, the majority of these teams, scuffed tires yesterday. NASCAR gave them their tires where they could get some laps on them because the drivers were complaining a little bit about how the stickers felt. Sometimes you do that in anticipation of the track doing one thing, and you come back the next day and the tires just don't feel quite as good as what you were anticipating.
I think that was Evil Loose, Matt just said on the radio.
That's no fun. Yeah, over 200 miles an hour, that's no good.
Kenseth running in third behind Mark Martin, a 5-time Michigan winner, out in front a quarter of the way into this race.
And a near miss early for the 22 and Sam Hornish Jr.
Oh, I tell you, Sam Hornish did a great job missing that 38 car. Barely got a scratch on the right rear quarter panel of that 22. He's been flying through the field. He's picked up a lot of positions.
He started 41st. Sam Hornish Jr. right now has moved his way up into the top 20, 17th. Another big mover so far, Jimmy Johnson on a mission.
Jimmy Johnson is on a rail. He is up 28 positions after starting shotgun on the field. He has passed everyone except for those few people that are in front of him. He's getting ready to move into the top 10 within the next lap.
Let's take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint network. Jimmy Johnson, surprise, surprise, is the biggest mover so far, going from 39th to 11th. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile Android app, only from Sprint. Get the app and learn more about Sprint's truly unlimited data plan on sprint.com/speed. And if we go to the front of the field, just a few spots ahead of Jimmy Johnson, you'll find the leader, one Mark Martin.
Oh, yeah, and I tell you, it does not surprise me at all how Mark Martin's running. I was down to garage area with Mark this weekend hanging out talking, and he is so committed, guys. It's incredible. He was working on that chassis. He was making a lot of calls. He looked like a real young guy down there, really trying to prove something. And I'll tell you what, this car is running the same way that he's committed to making it run. He's all in, I call it, Brad. He's very, very focused on this 55, and their car's running that good too.
It's not just the 55.
Yeah.
But take a look real quick, the 14 car going one lap down. Tony Stewart currently in 27th. What's going on there?
Well, we're not sure. We've heard him say to his crew chief that they've lost a cylinder, but we talked about the sustained engine RPM here. Very high engine RPM, wear and tear on the valve train, a lot of cycles on the motor. We saw that the lowest RPMs were right around 8,000 up in that 9,500 range. That's really tough on the valve train, guys.
He does not have a DNF for an engine while driving that 14 car, Doc.
Yeah, he does not, but to the last 4 weeks, he's gone from 5th to 8th in the point standings, Nicole, and that really concerns him with still 3 races to go in the chase. Right now, he's saying the car just lays down off the corner, a little bit of a vibration, and here's what's going to happen. Steve Addington just told Tony a minute ago, keep running. We're getting everybody in position in the garage area. Our engine guys, we're getting backup plug wires, ignition wire, everything we need, and when we tell you, that's Jeff Mindering, by the way, the car chief, talking to Steve Addington right now. When we get everything ready, Tony, we'll have you pull in the garage area, we'll raise the hood and work on it. We have got to be able to finish this race.
We got some kind of motor problem here. It's laying down like it's lost a cylinder here. All the vitals are good.
I'm sounding real good. All your voltage is good?
Everything is good. All the gauges are good.
Stewart now in 29th.
Yeah, and it's dropping back. It's not going to get any better. They're going to have to fit. If it is a broken valve spring or a valve train area, that valve could come down, hit the piston, cause a bigger engine failure. So they're going to need to get that thing looked at if they hope to finish this race.
You heard what they've done. They looked at everything he could do inside the car. A lot of times a battery that's going bad will cause the same problem. But Tony says that's not the issue. The gauges all look good. So I'm afraid that he does have an internal issue, just like you said.
Yeah, well, when they come by, you can hear them. That car sounds like it's laying down. It's thundering by us.
Jimmy Johnson started at the back of the field because of an engine change. Stuart Haas running HMS engines as well.
Yeah, and when something like that happens, everybody's in a panic because the HMS engines have been almost bulletproof. But again, the parts that they don't make, they don't manufacture valve springs and certain valve components. And again, with sustained RPM, and not dropping or rising up and up and down in RPM range, it puts a lot of wear and tear on that valve train. You're asking an awful lot out of a V8 engine.
I would say this particular track is the very worst in the entire circuit on sustained RPMs. It really kills the valve train.
So Stewart, 1 lap down in 29th. Up in the lead, it's Mark Martin and the 55, and really it's all of Michael Waltrip Racing that's performing at a high level today.
Absolutely. Martin Truex Jr. just got passed for second by Casey Kane, but he has been very consistent. And Clint Boyers in 7th. All 3 of the MW cars in the top 10, all 3 lightning fast.
Watching Mark Martin out front by a half a second over Casey Kane, Martin Truex Jr., Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards. They round out your top 5. 61 laps complete. More from Michigan in a minute.
A strange and terrible wreck as Mark Martin was caught up in an accident in front of him off turn 4, spun down pit road, and caught the butt end of the opening of pit wall. You see Mark climbing from the car there, fortunately, because look where that car hit that wall just behind the driver's compartment.
I don't know if that got the oil tank there. More than likely, that's probably exactly situated right behind the driver's seat there, just in front of the rear tire.
Yeah, you can see oil up inside the glass, the rear window. It's busted the oil tank. Good to see Mark get out of that car. That was crazy.
And see him thank the safety workers there too as he walked away.
Yeah, they were right there on the spot to help that, what could have been a much worse situation too.
So this began. Mark had Casey Kane coming up from behind him, racing for the lead. Juan Pablo Montoya and Bobby Labonte were racing right in front of him in turn 4.
Yeah, and Mark had caught these cars. You can see Bobby Labonte looks like just loses it, gets loose with that car right up behind him there. But Mark had been there for a while, and you can see Mark spinning now. Not much you can do except hold on and lock the brakes as a driver at this point in time.
And right there,
yeah, I was lucky the crew members weren't injured there as well. I'm telling you, that was just a crazy accident.
Mark's trying to keep it off the wall right here and keep it a little damaged as he possibly can, but just can't get it back out. Wow, you can see all the oil go out from under
instantly it ruptured that oil tank. That could have been a big problem if it had caught fire immediately.
Man.
Safety crews were right on the spot, though.
And Martin had caught this 47 and 42 and been behind them for about 10 laps, but couldn't get around them because the 47 and 42 had a little fresher tires, but you can see the fire underneath, but the fire crew was right there on top of things.
You see the end of that wall just penetrated the frame, and everything got to that oil tank immediately.
And you see the tire getting knocked in and some of the equipment into Casey Kane's pit stall. Crew members jumping around.
Is it kind of ironic that we're talking about the 47 in an accident and oil comes up too after last weekend's deal at Watkins Glen?
See, it just severed the frame, the whole rear frame section.
Such a fast race car Mark had.
No, that's too bad. And like I said, he had caught Montoya and been working on him trying to get by him. That's how Casey Kane had closed the gap.
Actually, I don't know if I hit him. If I hit him, I'm really freaking sorry. I got tied underneath him. I was trying to keep off him. I was actually off the throttle.
Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, from the angle that we had there, which was a little bit late, there wasn't any contact at that point in time, but we'll have to take another look and make sure that wasn't the case. See, as they come into the frame here,
doesn't look like
there's no contact there. That's just a matter of getting there so close, and a car probably already a little bit on the free side.
Air rushing off the front of that 42 car and up under the back of the 47.
Yeah, Mark looked like he was actually going to miss the 47, but then Casey Kane had so much speed and couldn't get slowed down. Looked like he got into the back of Mark. That's what sent Mark spinning.
Reports from NASCAR on pit road that everyone is okay down in the pit area, but as you can see, there's going to be a cleanup to be done, and we apologize for that slipping onto the air. Caution out Scary, scary moment here in Michigan. Fortunately, everybody's okay. Still under caution, pit road still not open, cleanup still continuing here at Michigan International Speedway. Gives us a moment to remind you that tonight, the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals Finals from Brainerd will happen at 9 Eastern Time on ESPN2. And to talk a bit about next weekend when we go to Thunder Valley. NASCAR Nationwide Series, Friday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN from Bristol. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, 7 Eastern next Saturday on ABC. And the shaved degree or two of banking off the top lane at Bristol. What's it going to look like? It'll be a fascinating weekend next weekend in Bristol, Tennessee.
This is Casey Kane's pit stall. That end of that wall is where Mark hit.
Fortunately, Mark Martin out of that car and okay, Mike.
Yeah, and he just looked at the replay, and you could hear a big sigh of relief as you looked at that replay. Well, what happened?
Oh, heck, I don't know. 47 got turned around there, and we got jammed up, and 5 got in the back of me. But I just want to thank all the race fans because I wouldn't get an opportunity to drive something like this. Aaron's wouldn't sponsor me. Aaron's and Toyota behind me and MWR. Michael Waltrip gave me a chance to drive awesome race cars, and this is just the coolest thing in the world. I'm disappointed that we got tore up, but man, what a hot ride, man. Big steam under the hood from Toyota, and Rodney Childers is such an awesome crew chief, and driving stuff like that, that's what it's all about.
Mark, that was a pretty big hit. Glad to see you're okay.
Thank you. I am too. I'm glad I'm okay, and I'm glad I got to drive that thing. It was awesome. I wish we could have finished the day off, but I am so grateful to have a chance to drive race cars like that.
Mark Martin still able to walk away with his head up. Alan?
All right, Mike, thanks. And we watch the caution flag pit stops now. A lot of right side only changes here. Matt Kenseth was the leader coming in. Jimmy Johnson looks like had to tap the brakes when Martin Truex came off his pit stall. But Clint Boyer is going to come off the pit lane with the lead.
Gain 4 spots, that's hard to do on pit road right these days. Especially just getting 2 tires. Everybody got 2 there on that panel.
So a bizarre crash here in Michigan that swept up the top 2 in the race, and the man who has led 54 of the 70 laps so far, Mark Martin, fortunately okay. And under caution for just the second time, an accident that took out what were the top 2 at the time, Mark Martin and Casey Kane. Martin is in the garage, Kane has continued, and now Tony Stewart back in the garage, Doc.
Yeah, a moment ago, Tony came on the pit road. He wanted to come to pit road first, guys, and that's probably a good idea on his part. He said, let's raise the hood, let's identify the dead cylinder, let's change the plug wire, and see if we can get it to come back to life. If we can't get it to come back, and it won't fire on all 8, then I'll go to the garage area. We'll disengage the dead cylinder so it won't hurt the engine, and I'll go back out and run the rest of the day on 7 cylinders. That's what they're doing right now. They're trying to identify. They have identified the cylinder. They're going to disengage it so it won't work, and they'll go back out momentarily on 7 cylinders.
And the reason this is so important, Tony Stewart is 8th in the championship. He can fall out of the top 10 in these last 4 races, including today, so they've got to make repair efforts and get as many points as they can. Clint Boyer, 15, Matt Kenseth, 17, for the lead in turn 1. For a spot on Kevin Harvick, 16 and 29. Biffle up to 5th.
Okay, there's 22, Sam Hornish. He's had some of the fastest lap times on this monitor that I've seen early in this race, making his way up from the back. It might be a factor in this thing before it's over.
What the caution did in the long yellow is it got all the guys who were off sequence on pit stops that played some strategy, like Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Sam Hornish, who started at the back. They got a chance to get back on the same pit cycle as the leaders now, and they're all up in line with good track position.
Yeah, it even took away any advantage right for the time being that Brad Keselowski in the 2-car may have had. See 3 wide racing here off the corner. And it's changed actually the complexion of this whole race, I believe. When you have the fastest car, and Mark Martin had definitely had that, go out of the race, that opens everybody else's eyes and said, okay, now everybody has a chance. Not that they could have made some adjustments maybe and gotten up there with Mark, but that certainly changed the look of it.
Paul Menard, 27, heading this group from 11th on back. Earnhardt Jr., Regan Smith, Marcus Ambrose, Jeff Burton, all in the mix there. Let me mention, we saw Casey Kane spin in the accident. He did make a couple of pit stops. They do have, whoa, trouble there. Ambrose nips Regan Smith, who goes for a spin.
Hold it. Here, got more coming now, got more coming.
Third caution is out. Has the race for 12th place. Went wrong.
Yeah, this was a team that really had come on the last few weeks, had a nice top 10 run at Watkins Glen last week, and was having some success here today. It's really unfortunate, nothing of his making.
Yeah, Todd Berrier has moved over there to head that team up, and they had some momentum, like you said, Dale. This is a tough break for them today, but they look like they had a pretty good car.
Seen that contact
today. Yeah, and one of two things can happen there. Most of the time it's that driver on the inside getting loose, having to chase up. The other thing we heard Montoya talk about is he got tight behind Bobby Labonte a while ago as he went up towards him. Don't think there was contact, but one of those two things sends you up into that car, and it looked like Marcus Ambrose was chasing his car up there and unfortunately got into Regan Smith.
Yeah, we saw Ambrose chasing his car early in the race like it was loose on tires that didn't have many laps on them. That might be the same thing that happened here. He chases the car up right into the left rear of Regan Smith.
No damage, we're good. Yeah, car's a lot better here. He just pinched me down there, but okay. It's M4.
So last week's winner, and Regan Smith, who hopes for another good run today, involved in the third caution here at Michigan in the Pure Michigan 400. In the shadow of the Detroit Big Three auto manufacturers, the Michigan International Speedway, where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is running what has turned into a wild and scary at moments 400-miler. Mark Martin, who dominated the race, involved in that frightening crash moments ago. Fortunately, Mark is okay. We are under the third caution flag of this race after Regan Smith had some contact in turn 3 and was turned up into the wall. He has driven his car back to the garage. Denny Hamlin with an extended stay on pit road under this caution flag. Mike?
Yeah, a little bit of right front fender damage. Had to pull that fender away. I spoke with his crew chief, Darian Grubb, this morning, and he told me the goal today just finished. Remember, they've had some very bad luck the last couple of weeks, so they did not want to take a chance of having a fender rub and perhaps blow out a tire. So they came down pit road, changed right sides, and filled up with fuel.
All right, so there's the report and the scoring serial on Denny Hamlin, who comes back out to form up for the restart. That'll happen in one more lap. So that restart going to be at 160 miles as we check our fresh off the wire served by KFC. Flint Boyer took the lead on the pit stops under the prior caution. He's out in front now. Travis Kvapil got the free pass on this yellow. David Reagan on the caution before that. 28 lead lap cars at the moment. Quick summation story on the day. Mark Martin led almost all of the first chunk of the race. Some guys that started in the back moved up nicely. Then the incident a moment ago that took Mark out of the picture. Everybody played a little pit strategy for track position. And there you are.
The MWR looks pretty strong right now, though. They've got Boyer now out front after losing Mark Martin's car. MWR still has two good, strong bullets in the race.
Jimmy Johnson from the back up into third. And I started to tell a story about Casey Kane when that last crash happened. Remember, Casey running second to Mark, swept up in the accident off the corner. Couple of trips down the pit lane under the yellow flag for repairs. He is on the lead lap, and Casey is in 19th position, Dave.
One of the biggest concerns that Casey had was underneath the car, how the fans were that can cool or let those tires heat up. Andy Peter, I'm wondering if you can help us out. When a car takes a slide like that, what kind of damage can it do underneath there?
Well, hopefully, I mean, you see the damage from the contact. You hope it doesn't go through the grass and rip some of the brake duct hoses off.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. having an interesting conversation.
what's Jeff's problem now?
I have no idea. No idea. You look good, man. You did a great job on that start, bud.
Is his spotter up there? Has he got a problem with me? I don't know. I'll find out. He's probably just mad you didn't follow him. He was going slower than I was. All right. His comments were he's mad and he should have wrecked you. Wrecked me? Yeah, that's what I was told.
All right, something to keep an eye on there.
Now Jr. here too, going to the inside of Greg Biffle.
I will say this, in our watching the first 80 laps of this race, Jeff Gordon on the first few laps after a restart has taken some time to get going. Then he's lightning fast.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating for Jeff, because he is fast after he gets going, and he doesn't want to lose too many spots. And I guess he felt like maybe Junior not only caused the spot he lost to him, but maybe some others as well.
Yeah, he's lost some as this restart has happened also.
Greg Biffle, 16. Sam Hornish Jr., 22. 8th and 9th spots there, and ahead of them, 2 and 48, Keselowski and Johnson. That's for 6th. We heard on NASCAR Countdown earlier, a pair of drivers a lot of folks think will race for the championship through the 10 races in the chase. That little arrow thing again there.
Yeah, you could see Biffle there taking advantage of that. Looked like Jimmy Johnson thought that the 2 was going to come up, maybe get into him. Gave a little bit more room. That allowed, here comes Sam Hornish to the bottom. Really impressed what Sam Hornish was. Andy was pointing out. He had no practice in this car. He was here a few weeks ago in that test, as they did a tire test.
Biffle and Keselowski just bouncing off each other there.
Look at Sam take this 2 spots getting in the corner.
Can he hold it down?
Job. Can he hold on to it?
Yeah, he might give those spots back.
Whoa.
It's like his teammate gave him a break.
Yeah, I was just wondering about him getting up under his bumper there off the corner with him already loose, but Sam was able to hold on. Trying it again.
Yeah, Sam's car works really good on the bottom, but it costs him a little bit of momentum as he hit the straightaway.
Jimmy Johnson restarted 3rd. He's sliding back here on this restart.
I think it takes Johnson's car a little bit to come in too, but when it does, he's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack late in the run.
I don't think we've called Jamie McMurray's number yet today, except on a green flag pit stop. There's the 1 car trying to find his way into the top 10.
Calling his number now. He's getting ready to be 3 wide in the middle.
Yep.
Like Gordon's back off a little.
Yeah, Gordon's back up to speed a little bit, trying to push Marcus Ambrose.
Remember that pattern from late in the race if you get a late caution. Jeff and that team will definitely be hoping for a long green run at the end of this thing, because again, as we've gone 20 laps into a run, his car keeps showing up as turning the fastest laps among everybody time after time.
Yeah, those days as a driver that were always so difficult. You had a fast race car, but it wouldn't get going on the restarts, and man, it was just so frustrating. Let's see what we were talking about here.
See, Junior just made a lane down there on the bottom. Does get the spot from Gordon.
So the f***ing 88, he can thank me later for not wrecking his just that was f***ing stupid.
I mean, I know Jeff's frustrated. I don't see anything wrong with what Dale Jr. did there. You go race and do all that you can do.
It's a race, right?
Little road rage, time to time.
There we go. And how many times have we said just so far in our coverage of these Sprint Cup races, these restarts are when these guys are trying to make the spots that they can get. They've carried this battle on, though.
Vince, little trash on the grill of that 88 car worth watching also.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to find the balance, at least as far as the sweet spot of that balance on the 88 is concerned today. Dale Jr. Likes it to be comfortable. Steve Letarte likes it to be fast, and Letarte said if you can keep both of us happy, we're going to be hard to beat. They haven't found it just yet, and yes, Alan, that debris on the grill, a little bit of a concern right now.
Oh, trouble. Turn 3. Middle of the corner. Joey Logano has slapped the wall.
I believe that was contact from Montoya, I believe.
And significantly rearranged the right rear corner of that 20 car.
smoking bad on the right rear.
Oh, yeah. There's no way to save that with the way this racetrack is. It's not that upper lane. There's too much trash up there. The track's not coming in. Nowhere to catch the car. Might would have got away with that on the old track and not hit so hard. Maybe just touch the wall.
And they probably wouldn't even been in that position. You see Biffle go by.
Caution out, guys. Caution out. We got in the wall in 3. Coming to you.
Joey hit the wall again while we were looking at the replays and then went back to the live racing. So caution out here for debris from the 20 car, 4th yellow of the race.
Yeah, and from that first angle that we saw there, I'm not going to put all of that on Montoya. I mean, he may have gone a little bit, but you can see, and of course Logano was needing to turn down, but it's just they came together. My thought. You're not looking like that,
well,
Andy.
I just want to see it again before I agree with that.
By the way, you heard Jason Ratcliffe mention we got to fix this thing and get back out. Joey trying to stay in the top 20 in points, so that win can try and help him perhaps at wild card time for the chase.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he came down on me twice, and he expects me to get out of the way again, you know?
Yeah, simple. Come on, it up here.
There's usually at least 2 versions to every one of these.
And the guy that's running right behind him there probably has a 3rd story, right?
Well, the problem right here, the groove's really narrow getting in the corner. You don't have a lot of room to arc it in, so the groove's very narrow. See, this is after the first impact. Can't hardly steer it now.
And their biggest problem, is once they get up there, and Alan, I think, pointed this out, there's just no grip whatsoever there. You can't slow down enough because of the speeds that you're carrying around here.
So Logano to the garage, and the 4th caution is out. Pit road will be open this time. David Ruderman gets the free pass. And in everything that's going on, by the way, Clint Boyer's been leading.
Yeah, and these guys are thinking that they're already at Bristol next week, I think, with the contact we've seen.
Yeah, it's been a little rough, hasn't it? Boyer and Truex running 1 and 2 for Michael Waltrip Racing. Roush Fenway Racing running 3, 4, and 5 with Kenseth, Edwards, and Biffle.
It's been 19 laps since the cars were on pit road, or the leaders were. We last pitted on lap 70. Actually coming up on lap 90 now. See, Clint Boyer did make the move to pit road. Here comes 2 car, and a lot of people staying out, too.
Little split decision here, Dave.
They were talking about it all the way down to the entrance of pit road. It'll be 2 tires and gas. They talked about fuel only, but 2 and gas. 48 of Jimmy Johnson. He will pit for 2 tires as well and fuel. Mike?
Brad Keselowski, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Marcos Ambrose, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and a few more coming off the pit lane. But Truex, Kenseth, Edwards stayed out. They'll go to the top 3 spots when we go back racing in the Pure Michigan 400. Just shy of halfway in the Pure Michigan 400, coming to the restart. 12 cars did not pit. First off the pit lane was Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's back in 13th as we get set for the restart. Martin Truex Jr., the new leader, choosing the outside lane with Matt Kenseth in the 17 to his left. Hang on, Kenseth.
Kevin Harvick able to stay up there. It's probably one of the better runs we've seen Harvick at as Kenseth loose once again off of 4.
Another guy, just like we were talking about Jeff Gordon earlier, that has trouble, it seems like, getting going on the first few laps, and then it settles in.
You guys just will not give them a break when they're struggling on the restart, will you? You're going to pounce on them right then.
Tony Stewart has come back onto the racetrack, but Jeff Gordon is now off the pace.
We talked about how hard this track is on engines. Tony Stewart's engine already had problems. Now we see Jeff Gordon maybe struggling with it.
I mean, it's only going to get worse. Yeah, I'm getting a plan right now.
Jeffrey started 27th after the pit stop.
Jimmy Johnson had to change engines during the weekend. They
We just had an engine problem, I believe. Yeah, we've lost a cylinder.
So Hendrick Motorsports changed the engine on Jimmy Johnson's car Saturday morning when they saw something they didn't like. Tony Stewart had a problem earlier today, is back in the race. Stewart 22 laps down in 34th place, and now Jeff Gordon with his troubles as Greg Biffle gives that wall a shave. And Johnson, after starting in the back, has charged his way toward the front, running as high as third a little earlier, 13th right now after a trip down the pit lane for fuel under this last caution.
Yeah, I was told that yesterday morning when they came back in, cranked the engine up early on, they got a little smoke from it then. Thought it was okay. See Greg Biffle trying to take the lead from Martin Truex, but then as they restarted it right before practice, they got even more smoke and they decided they need to make an engine change on that 48.
Yeah, the issue with the 48's engine was a scuffed piston. It wasn't what sounds like a valve train related issue like we hear on Tony Stewart's, and I'm thinking that might be what's wrong with the 24.
Greg Biffle is driving this thing. He's using up the entire racetrack, but he's running Martin Truex down.
Yeah, but another Michael Waltrip Racing car at the front leading this race. When the 15 pitted, they had another one to take over the lead, and he's holding on to it.
He's had all three of them lead laps here today. Look at Biffle. This time, he's trying to widen the groove out some.
Jamie McMurray down the pit lane under the green flag in the one car. Greg Biffle, talking with Greg earlier in the weekend, and he feels like they've had a lot of speed in these race cars. And this particular racetrack has been a really good one for Biffle over the years. Maybe he's going to reverse the pattern here in recent years, because his pattern here in recent years has been to lead a lot of laps and then not get the win. He hasn't led yet today.
He was trying, but it seemed like the closer he got to that 56 car Truex, the more he kind of lost the front end. And they both better look in their mirror because Sam Hornish is coming at him pretty quickly.
What a story that would be.
I've been watching this 22. I'm telling you, from the start of the race, he's been fast, working his way up. Now he's got track position. This car's still going to the front.
Remember, started in the back because another driver qualified this car on Friday while Hornish concentrated on his NASCAR Nationwide Series championship effort up in Montreal. He got in this car this morning without a single lap of practice this weekend, and here he is running third.
Yeah, he almost came back and won the Nationwide race there yesterday on the road course after getting involved in an accident, going back just almost outside the top 20. Probably another lap or two. He's going to give Justin Allgaier everything that he could handle, but what a great run here today. You can just see and listen to the confidence in Sam Hornish the more opportunities he gets in these race cars. Just doing a fantastic job here today.
Trying to make a case that he should be the guy in this 22 car for next season for Roger Penske. Reminder to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live from Michigan International Speedway by following your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views.
I gotta think Sam is thinking that, hey, how many chances I'm going to get at this level? This is one of the best opportunities I have. I need to make the most of it, and boy, he's doing it today.
Hornish running third behind Truex and Biffle. Jeff Gordon has gone to the garage and is climbing out of his 24 car. The Pure Michigan 400 at the Michigan International Speedway. As we remind you to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. New leader, Greg Biffle, squeezed by Martin Truex Jr. during the break and has driven away from him since.
Well, we're seeing some of the fastest laps, especially after having a lot of laps on the tires we've seen anybody here. You know, Biffle fell back there for just a second the last time, made a big charge and was able to get his nose under Truex this time and keep the clean air on where he can make that drive off the corner.
So Greg Biffle, a one-time winner so far this season. That was all the way back at Texas in April. And until Marcos Ambrose won last weekend at Watkins Glen, that had been the last Ford win of the season to this point. Now some of the front runners trickling onto the pit lane. Here's Truex, Doc.
Scheduled pit stop, Alan, for Martin Truex. This will make it, put them in their window. They can make it now on 2 more stops. And Andy, listen in. They're going to make an air pressure change. They're lowering the air pressure in all 4 inner liners. The inner liners inside the tires to stop the car from sliding in the corner. They did it earlier. It helped the car a lot. Left side tires going on. Topping it off with Sunoco. Left rear having a little bit of issue. And now he's down in a way, a little less than 15 seconds.
Yeah, those inner liners, Doc, if you can adjust those air pressures, sometimes that can change the way the sidewall flexes and change the way the car feels. So it can definitely be a tuning tool.
Race for 6th here, Dale Jr. in 88 and Trevor Bayne in the 21.
Yeah, Trevor Bayne doing a nice job in the Swift Brothers Ford here today. Been in the top 10 the majority of the time, had a solid qualifying effort, but being solid throughout the day.
Trevor, of course, not getting to run every race this season, making one of his infrequent starts, but doing a solid job today. And 88 car continuing to move from the back toward the front, Vince.
That's exactly right. And Dale Jr. said for some reason it's as good as it's been all day long. Steve Letart's been taking some swings at it, and he's got a happy race car driver right now. Typically, you got a happy driver, you're usually pretty fast. Remember, they're coming off their 2 worst finishes of the season at Pocono and Watkins Glen. They need a good day to give them a little shot of confidence here today, and they're having it.
And Vince, remember, it was Junior said on Countdown, he said, well, he'll know in the first couple laps whether they've got a good car or not. This car not practiced at all after the crash on Saturday.
And Steve Letart's put themselves in a good spot here because they only have to make 2 more stops. And that's these other cars, after they make this green flag stop, the ones that did not come in under the caution, they still have to make 2 more as well. So it looks like right now the highest running car that's going to be on this strategy is Junior.
Well, they were looking for that combination of making the driver and the crew chief happy. Looked like they got them both. Junior wanted to be comfortable, and the crew chief wanted to be fast. Looks like they got them both lined up right now.
The beginning of this round of green flag pit stops was Kevin Harvick, who came in at lap 102. We saw Truex pit as well, waiting for a lot of the other front runners to begin flowing to the pit lane in the next little bit.
And that strategy really works if it goes green the rest of the way. We've seen races here go green a long time, so it'd have to go all the way to the finish that way if that strategy is going to work.
Denny Hamlin on pit road for a long time, a little earlier in the race. Now here he is in 9th place, racing Marcos Ambrose there.
Yeah, the best we've seen this number 11 Toyota today for Denny Hamlin. He'd been outside the top 10 most of the time, battling between 13th and 16th, but made some adjustments. Looks like it's a little better for him.
And here comes the leader. Wondering, you see a little bit of water there splashed on that camera lens, or
half
debris.
round in left rear 4 tires. Half round in
Little
left rear 4 tires.
trash on the grill of that 16 car. Carl Edwards also in as Trevor Bayne follows down the pit lane. The Ford's coming in, Vince.
Well, the 99 of Carl Edwards says it's just still a little bit too tight rolling. They've been fighting that throughout most of the day. Not terrible, but just not quite good enough. It's a right side tire change. In fact, it's a 4 tire change now in the 99, Doc.
And you heard Matt Buscio on the radio as Biffle was coming down a half a round in. That's a half a round a wedge. Greg said the car very, very free on entry. 4 tires topping it off in fuel. Okay.
Matt Kenseth didn't want to be left out of the Ford Roush Fenway parade, so he comes down pit road now. He will get a track bar adjustment. Car just a little tight in, a little loose off. 2 cans of Sunoco fuel, 4 fresh tires. Remember, he was on the, I call it lap 110 plan. He pits right here on lap 112. They stretch it out just a little bit.
Hi, David. As Kenseth rejoins, you see Hornish is the leader. I'm sure you all were curious, like we were, about why Greg Biffle was swerving that car back and forth as he was approaching his pit stall. We'll follow up with that after we cover the rest of the pit stops. Here is the leader on the pit lane with 88, now 87 laps to go. Hornish is in, Doc.
And Sam said, guys, you got to clean the grill. The oil temperature and water temperature are both high. I don't see anything on the grill. Not a good sign. You're going to change 4 tires. Sam has driven this car away from the back of the pack. Slight air pressure adjustment. Otherwise, considering the fact he has not been in the car the entire weekend, they have had minimal adjustments other than about a half a round of the track bar. Down and away, a little less than 16 seconds.
New leader Paul Menard will give that top spot up and come to the attention of his crew, Dave.
And he will indeed do that. They're going to go over the wall, and for Paul, it'll be a 4-tire change as well. Under green, of course, more likely to do that, although we did see the 48 do the 2-tire stop earlier. Paul going to get 4 tires. They are going to fill it full of Sunoco fuel. Slight air pressure adjustment at this point.
Menard having a very solid day here at Michigan. Been up front in the top 10 about the entire race in that 27 car. So Junior now the leader. Junior, Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, Marcos Ambrose, Casey Kane now the top 5 as Kane continues to try and recover from the spin while running second earlier. Jeff Gordon back in the garage, Mike.
Yeah, and this is the last thing the 24 team wanted to see happen here today. You've been looking at the motor or the engine. What are we able to diagnose?
Yeah, it's a valve spring. I think that's the same thing that happened to the 14 earlier. So, you know, it's something that, you know, when you come to Michigan, you turn these kind of sustained RPMs on this big, fast of a track. It's always a concern here, and, you know, that bit us. And we weren't. I tell you, we've been having a rough weekend. You know, we're not, you know, handling the way that we were hoping to. But track position's so important that all we had to do is get track position. We still could have come out here with a good finish and even won the race. So, a lot of laps left, and it's unfortunate that we don't get to find out what we could do with it. And it's kind of year we've been having. So we'll just go on to Bristol.
Meanwhile, one of your teammates out there, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's leading the race. It sounded like you had some issues with him earlier in the race. What was going on?
Well, he took me 4 wide. That wasn't that big of a deal, but he just slid up in front of me off of turn 2, and I had to check up or I'd have wrecked all of us. So I just didn't think that it was the smartest thing to do, especially his teammates. But, you know, he chose to do it, and that's fine. It all worked out. And, you know, I don't care who I'm racing out there. I'm going to show my displeasure if I'm not happy about something. But that one was pretty close, so no big deal. But glad to see he's running good. You know, those guys have really gotten their car dialed in here at Michigan this year.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Jeff Gordon and the 24 team continuing work on that race car, hoping to get back out before the end of the day, Alan.
And they're going to see Tony Stewart back in the garage there with him again, Mike. He's just driven his car into the garage area again.
It's like Junior, if he can make it to lap 130, he should be able to make it now on one more stop.
Their second place, Jimmy Johnson, 2.2 seconds behind Junior.
Kind of interesting as we watched Jimmy run in second. At the start of this race, Johnson charged through the field and probably put 10 cars between where he was able to drive to and where Junior was. And it was like now Junior has worked on his car and made it much better. Out front in the lead now.
Green flag pit stops. Juan Pablo Montoya in. Vince?
Well, and he's been running in the top 10, which is somewhat amazing since he's got some damage to that race car, but they've done a nice job of getting it fixed and keeping it lively. 4 tire stops, Sunoco fuel, and air pressure adjustment for Juan Pablo.
Now don't forget, the reason this cycle of pit stops is so spread out, everybody pitted at lap 70, but 12 cars did not pit at lap 90. We've seen those cars on the pit lane. The others who did stop at 90, like Dale Earnhardt Jr., are still out there running. An inside look now with unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint Network. Dale Earnhardt Jr. pitting here is the biggest mover in this race. Remember, he started at the back. He pits from the lead. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile Android app, only from Sprint. Get the app and learn more about Sprint's truly unlimited data plan at sprint.com/speed. Speedy pit crew at work, Vince.
Well, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been real happy with his race car these last couple of runs. They're going to make a 4-tire change, pack it full of fuel, but no other adjustments for the 88. 32 laps, 34 laps now since their last stop. They last pitted on lap 90.
For those that scum, just the first time I've had new laps, you just give them a lap here.
Junior looking for some feedback and wanting to know what kind of tires he's got on the cars. He heads back onto the track. Jimmy Johnson, the leader. That's Carl Edwards in front of him. Carl, the first car, actually Carl on the tail end of the lead lap, excuse me.
Yeah, you see this pit stop cycle. I was expecting Junior to be able to go a few more laps and make this thing on one more stop. It's going to be really, really close for him. He'll have to run 38 laps in these next 2 segments to be able to do that.
Clint Boyer, Ryan Newman on the pit lane, Dave.
Boyer pits from 5th. His car very, very loose. He will take 4 tires, air pressure, and wedge adjustment for Clint.
And right side of the screen, Jimmy Johnson will give up the race lead and come in for his stop. This with 74 laps to go.
Wedge adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. He also adjusted his line. It was taking too much wheel. He backed up his braking just a little bit. 4-tire stop, lap 126. Also, Casey Kane on pit road. Slow removing the left rear. Crew Chief Kenny Francis just told me since the repair, he believes the car is 100%. Casey is gone with 4 fresh tires.
Marcos Ambrose in. Jeff Burton in. Kyle Busch in. Doc?
A little bit of fuel strategy. Kyle Busch in. 4 tires topping out the fuel. Not running that well, but getting pretty good fuel mileage. Maybe able to roll the dice a little bit. They need to have something happen to get them to victory lane.
Brad Keselowski now the leader. Then it will cycle back around once he pits to Greg Biffle and Martin Truex Jr. Here's Kurt Busch in. Doc?
And remember, they cannot hear him on the radio. It's just all static. He can hear them. He can hear crew chief and spotter. He's been coming in, topping off with fuel, wants to be able to get a top 15. They say expectations, maybe a top 10. He told the crew last night in a private morale building meeting, he's proud of how hard they're working to make him look good. He appreciates it. Mike.
In practice this week, Paul Wolfe was very concerned that the two, Brad Keselowski, could not charge the corner the way they would like. They've gone to work on that car throughout the weekend and throughout the day, making a series of adjustments, and the car has gotten much better. They'll take on 4 tires here, an air pressure adjustment ever so slight, and they'll drop them down off the jacks in just over 13 seconds. A good stop for Keselowski.
Keselowski is the only one that's proven that he can make it on one more stop by making his pit stop here at lap 128. He only has to run 36 laps in each of these last 2 segments. He's already run 37.
Pass-through penalty for Bobby Labonte for speeding on pit road under his green flag stop. Greg Biffle is now the race leader. It's Biffle, Truex Jr., and there's the gap from 1 to 2. Then Matt Kenseth will come back and cycle 3rd. Jamie McMurray 4th, Sam Hornish Jr. 5th. Jimmy Johnson is running 9th, Dave.
Why don't you show you these left side tires, Alan? They are the ones that he started the race on. Talk about some good tire wear. They changed left sides for the first time today on that pit stop.
Wow, I tell you, Goodyear's done a great job with this tire and this new surface.
One of the biggest challenges when
He's got to pit one more time, so does the 88. Everybody else ahead of us has to pit twice to make it.
Okay, well, he's got the same thinking I have. I'm just saying the people that have proven it has been the 2-car. These 2 cars here may be able to do it if they go into a little bit of a conservation mode.
Ray Lance, you are the first car that only has to stop one more time. Everyone in front of you must stop twice.
Yeah, I mean they've got themselves in a good spot. I was expecting them to run more laps in that segment there before they made that green flag stop, but they know that now that they can make it on one more, and that's putting Junior in the catbird seat, and so is Jimmy, and the 2-car too is in a good spot.
7 of the last 10 races here at Michigan, the last green flag stretch has been under 30 laps. But in the first race on the new pavement here in June, that last green flag stretch was 60 laps, the longest in the last 10 races here at Michigan. What do you go with? Long history or the new pavement, brief history?
Well, it's kind of hard. Yeah, I've seen races go completely green here, green to checker. So I've seen them with a lot of cautions and some with none. Really, you just can't count on anything. It boils down to it.
So his answer to that was maybe.
Yeah.
Greg Biffle out in front, looking for his 2nd win of the season. Biffle, who came into the race 2nd to Jimmy Johnson in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship standings by a single point, looking to reclaim the lead. Another twist in the plot, caution out for the 5th time here at Michigan. Kurt Busch running 21st into the wall.
I'll throw out that strategy we saw playing out. Told you can't count on anything here, Al.
Wow.
Got out of the groove.
That just took off on him.
It almost looked like something broke right there on the car, where he couldn't turn it.
So tough day for Kurt, the former champ. David Gilliland gets the free pass to get back on the lead lap. So now, 64 laps to go. Everybody pits here?
Yeah, everybody can make it on one more stop from here.
What about the guys like Junior and Jimmy Johnson that were set to go on the one more anyway? They still come in here and
what happens is you put yourself into another box if you don't, because then you have to run. You'd have to make that green flag stop a lot sooner, and it'd make you vulnerable to another caution coming out and putting you behind.
Yeah, they should just be getting fuel where these other guys might get a couple of tires.
Here they come, Dave.
Matt Kenseth will give up third. He will get a couple of tires. His car is still a little bit loose in and tied off. They'll make a slight adjustment for that with air pressure. Vince?
Carl Edwards, bottom left of your screen. They were going to go 4, but it's going to be a 2-tire change now for Carl. They're also going to make a chassis adjustment. He's going to go on the jack, and there he's off, Doc.
Truex and Biffle, right side of your screen. Both of them want an adjustment. Don't have time. The crew chief said 2 tires for both guys down and away. Biffle is gone. A little bit of an issue with Truex. About another second delay, but Biffle hustling off, guys.
Well, Greg Biffle's going to be the first one off the pit road, but by my quick count, I've got 10 guys who did not pit under this yellow flag. They include Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Keselowski, Kane, Ambrose, Boyer, Kyle, and more.
Under caution here at Michigan, our 5-hour energy rapid recap will get us caught up with what's happened so far. Starting with this, lap 64, a very scary moment for Mark Martin.
Massive wreck. Hits the end of pit wall right there. That wall went right behind his seat. Let's take a look at this.
Oh, exploded the oil cooler, everything.
Yeah, barely missed that seat, Brad.
Yeah, it did. You see the oil cooler explode. There's the fire from the oil. Fire crew was right there, got it put out. Mark Martin safe, but that is a horrific wreck.
Mark Martin fine, so is everyone else on pit road. It's been a good day for Dale Earnhardt Jr., especially considering where he started, 42nd in a backup car.
Yeah, absolutely. They said that's a backup car. He ran third with it. California tested it. They were pretty confident in it. Obviously, they transferred their setup from their race car. It's pretty good.
And who's leading right now? Dale Earnhardt Jr. Though problems for those drivers running Hendrick engines. Tony Stewart, valve spring issue. Jeff Gordon, valve spring issue. And oh, by the way, Jimmy Johnson switched an engine earlier this weekend.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson switched that engine. And also Dale Earnhardt Jr., that backup car, he's kind of got a little better engine, a lot less time on that engine too. But talking about Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, they're having these problems. A big hit for both of these drivers. There's Mr. Hendrick checking on it. He's concerned about what's happening.
Some concerns, though, right now with the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ray Evernham. You're not sold on this strategy. He did not stop.
No, and my confusion is that, hey, look, Steve Letarte is a great crew chief, but anytime you've got to pit that much earlier than the other cars under green, which is what could happen now if we go green for a little bit, you put yourself in a position with having that car that good, and the caution comes out, boom, you're out of contention. That's what worries me.
We've seen them all come down, though, these last few races to fuel mileage, or they've been a lot of races that have been accorded to fuel mileage. So I think you got to gamble. But I agree with you, Ray. You're taking a great race car away.
And moments ago, we heard this.
All right, buddy. Whatever happens, man, I'll let you know. I appreciate it. All you boys in here prepared a hell of a good car, especially off the truck like that. I think we got a good chance. Let's keep our head down and dig. One stop from here. Let me know if it still stays edgy, and I'll do some chassis work to it.
60 laps to go. Junior with the signal to his teammate behind him on the restart.
Like he was signaling Casey Kane when he was going to go. Yeah, you just want to get that little bit of a push that you can, because you utilize the draft, give him a push, and it push Junior out in front.
Carl Edwards, 3 wide. Greg Biffle, first to have pitted, or first off the pit lane, restarted 11th. Trying to get 6th, 3 wide here off turn 4. Jeff Burton had it hung out.
Wow,
31.
there's a lot going on there. See Carl Edwards bum drafting with Martin Truex Jr.
Off the pace, Juan Pablo Montoya was in 20th place. Look at this hornet's nest.
Caution's out. Caution's
Debris
out.
from the Montoya car. Left front tire was down on that car. I believe it either knocked something off the car. Yeah, there it is.
Still coming off. Yeah, he missed pit road entrance, so this is going to cause even a bigger mess before
We're
he
going
gets
to install
back.
that off and put a new piece on it. Let's get back to us as quick as we can.
Well, that means we get to see all that restart stuff happen again.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
So the 6th caution flag of this race is out. Now with 58 laps to go. Greg Biffle, after restarting 11th, all the way up to 5th in just those few laps of racing. And saving fuel. So we'll regroup here, clean up all the debris. Wait on it, wait on it. Okay, let's go.
Not yet.
Debris cleanup continues here at Michigan as we take an inside look and get unlimited access to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app and truly unlimited data on the Sprint Network. 16 lead changes so far today in what has been a very competitive and eventful race here at Michigan. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with live in-car audio and real-time stats on the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile Android app, only from Sprint. Get the app and learn more about Sprint's truly unlimited data plan at sprint.com/speed. While we work the caution and they clean up the debris from the 42 car, in-race reporter today, Brad Keselowski, is running in 3rd.
Hey, Brad, Dale Jarrett, you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy, I think this is what every race driver wants. About 100 miles to go. You can see the front. What do you got for them?
I think we got a little bit of something for him, Dale. I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest. You know, all that trick stuff these guys got on their cars doesn't seem to run for the first few laps. They look about undrivable, so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure they're as undrivable as possible. So hopefully we can get in front of them, get the clean air drive away. The 88 and 48 are very fast, but so is that 16 in front of me. But I know if we can get the Miller Lite Dodge out front, it'll be really fast too.
Hey, man, has this groove widened out any for you guys to race side by side through these corners?
No, not really. I know everybody's working on it. I've tried a couple other lanes, and it seems like I just barely made it back around. You know, that's not any fun, but it hasn't widened out yet. Give it some time, and it will.
All right, man, good luck. We're going to have fun watching you go to the front.
At 10-4, thank you.
I want to make it as undrivable as I can.
You know, he told us, if we saw in the interview with him, that he's a thinking man's driver. He likes to outthink them. That's what you do.
Restarting one more lap, our Marty Smith has been working the Twitter beat inside the ESPN pit studio all race long. Marty, I bet there's been some fun stuff.
Well, absolutely, Alan. And right now, the current topic of conversation overwhelmingly is Jeff Gordon versus Dale Earnhardt Jr. and what the fans are making of this. Many, of course, hating on Jeff Gordon, given that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the most popular driver in NASCAR. But it does lead me to wonder, one of the people here say that Jeff may want to look at the replay. Junior didn't take him 4 wide. I guess Rick Hendrick was right that you get cranky when you get old and blind. That from Live for Dale Jr. 88. But it does make me wonder for Dale Jarrett, what's it like when you're a driver and you're trying so hard to be successful and your time is fleeting? How hard is it when you face that adversity to maintain your composure?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, and I think that in Jeff's respect, it's just been disappointing for him the last couple of weeks. And he said today that he was disappointed in the way they came here and ran. And I think that had a lot to do with his comments.
So getting ready for the restart with Earnhardt Jr. leading. Jeff Gordon back on track after time behind the wall. He's 31 laps down after the engine trouble of earlier. Free pass to Jamie McMurray. There he is in the 1 car. Back on the lead lap in 23rd position. 3 Hendrick Motorsports cars in the top 4. Brad Keselowski for Penske. And then remember, Greg Biffle, 11th to 5th after that last restart in just a few laps of racing.
Biffle did that the last time on the high side, making those passes and coming quick. He's stuck down on the bottom now.
Matt Kenseth is the car off the pace in the outside lane, falling to the back of the pack. Three wide. Tight squeeze in turn 4. Biffle gives way. It's going to cost him a couple of spots. Kenseth was 10th. He's heading for pit road. Understand he may have a flat right rear tire. That's the report up from the pit lane. Confirming, Dave?
Confirming. We'll show it to you here in just a second. Well, they're going to change all 4 now, and Matt's cut the car off. He's refired it. Both tires coming off the rear have some air in them. Check and get back to you, Alan.
So Kenseth will rejoin the race, and the team will look at those tires and see if they can dissect the problem.
See, right there already, he has a problem with his right rear tire.
It's going to put Matt back to 25th place, a lap down. Dale Jr. leading, Jimmy Johnson second, Brad Keselowski third, Casey Kane all the way back up to 4th after involvement in the incident that took Mark Martin, the dominant driver in the first half of the race, out. He went all the way back to 26th following that spin. He's up to 4th, and there's Clint Boyer in 5th. Ambrose and Edwards racing for 6th, 99 and 9.
Both of these cars need a win. So that 9 car getting 1 win last week. If he get another one, he'd be in the chase.
See Greg Biffle there trying to fight his way back. Saw him start 5th on the inside. Fell all the way back to 9th here before he can get that momentum going back forward. That could determine late in this race, if we have a restart, exactly where you are, what kind of chance you're going to have.
And we watch Ryan Newman in the middle of all this as well, Vince.
Well, it's been an interesting weekend for Newman. Of course, he came into this race on the bubble as far as the chase is concerned. There you see him leading the 9 car in that 2-car battle. He's not been feeling well. In fact, he took an IV before the race today. And he's also been concerned, or this pit has been concerned, as you see Ambrose coming underneath the 39, about the fact that the 48, the 14, and the 24, all out of the Hendrick shop, have all had engine issues this weekend. 39's been holding their breath, but so far, no problems. They've just been real loose throughout the course of the day.
And Newman, along with Ambrose, part of that group that is in the 11th through 20th in points group with 1 win. And remember, if we go through these next several races and a group of drivers all have 1 win, Casey Kane would have the first wild card with his 2 wins, and then it'll be point standing that breaks that tie for the 1 win. And Newman in a very tight fight with others, some of whom have had trouble today. Here coming into the race were the guys with 1 win, and look at the point separation between them starting the day. Not much.
Not much, but that just shows how big a hit this is for someone like Jeff Gordon, who's had such a bad day here. Jimmy Johnson takes the lead from Dale Jr. now.
47 laps to go. Interesting how after Jimmy qualified so well on Friday, qualified 3rd fastest, they changed the engine on Saturday morning and he went all the way to the back, right?
New leader, 48.
Thank you, spotter Earl Barban. This is the 13th time Jimmy has had to go to the rear of the field for something by rule like an engine change. He's never finished worse than 10th in any of those races.
That's a pretty good stat.
That's
right
remarkable,
there.
isn't it?
Good chance of keeping that stat alive here. He's got a lot of company up front. What they said about this 48, Dave?
Well, DJ, confirming something you guys talked about earlier, Jimmy knew he probably wouldn't be able to jump his teammate at the start, but listen to this.
How to feel on that? that restart, Jimmy? It's not bad. I don't go forward like I want to on those restarts. It seems like we're more mid-run and on, but it did what I was asking it to do. Temporary.
So I guess about 7 laps is mid-run and on, and he takes the lead.
So Jimmy out front and has put a little bit of a gap on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now 45 laps to go, giving you that information on times Jimmy has started in the back and how he's always finished in the top 10 in that situation. 2 of those races were wins. Could it be a third today? And by the way, this is one of those places that's few and far between for Jimmy Johnson. Tracks where he's not yet won in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. In the hunt for what would be a series-leading 4th win on the season if he can hold on for these final 44 laps. Jimmy Johnson leading at Michigan, now 40 laps to go in this race. Let's check out how our drivers are doing in AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge. Down to the top 4 qualifiers, Jimmy Johnson leading the pack. Remember to text FAST to 34763 and play AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge, or you can do so by visiting attfastestdriver.com. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs just by playing. Storylines on the day. Rallies, strategy, drivers having trouble, and the dominant driver in the race being taken out in a freaky crash. Mark Martin starting on pole and leading 54. He still had the most laps in the race, leading 54 laps, but taken out in a bizarre crash earlier when cars tangled in front of him, knocked him down pit road, and he hit the end of one of the openings on pit wall. Mark, okay. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, they've had problems under the hood. They have gone in and out of the garage a few times. And Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., 2 of 4 cars who had to drop to the back of the pack on the pace laps. Johnson for an engine change, Jr. because of a crash during practice. They're running 1st and 2nd with another round of pit stops coming up fairly soon.
Pretty amazing that these 2 drivers have been able to really work their way to the front, and once they got there, able to stay there throughout the day. I think we talked that it could happen.
I wasn't a bit surprised that they were able to do it. They've got really fast cars. They got a package right now, the Hendrick cars. You see them running 1, 2, and 4. They just got a package that's faster than most cars. They're able to skew their cars out a little bit. You see how the right rear of the car moves to the right. They have a limit. NASCAR has a limit on how much you can do that statically, but this team, the Hendrick team, has learned how to do that dynamically on the racetrack, make their car do more of that, and it's worth speed.
All the way up here at the line.
37 to go. What should be
the cone right there. Coming in. You can take care of your tires here.
What should be Dale Jr.'s final pit stop? He gives up 2nd spot. And here he is.
They're going to have to go 37 laps to the finish. Junior says it feels like it's a little too edgy. Steve Letarte said, I'm going to give you a little security with this 2-tire stop. Give him enough fuel, packing it to get him to the end. Junior is out.
Trend we've seen develop over the course of this season in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Used to be if you had to take a full load of fuel, you automatically went for 4 tires. But work teams have been able to do with the refueling procedure has sped that up. And they've taken a full tank of fuel take less than a 4-tire change does. Here's Casey Kane.
Kane's final stop, 4 tires. Clint Boyer goes around him as well. This will be his final as well. 4-tire stop, fuel for all of them. And just slight changes to each running pretty well. No complaints from the drivers, actually, so there may be no changes to both of those cars.
Clint Boyer away. Jeff Burton also in for his final stop.
I'm bringing this lap.
So we expect to see Jimmy Johnson next time by. Ambrose and Biffle in. 35 to go. Newman is also in, Vince.
Well, what a good day it's been for Ryan Newman and Tony Gibson. They've been up against it. We've documented that Newman has been sick, but they hung in there and fought a loose race car all day long. He said, you still got to snug me up. Mike?
Marcus Ambrose with a very solid run. His crew chief, Tom Parrott, telling him, do not slide the tires coming down pit road. A chassis adjustment and right sides only, Doc.
Likewise, do not slide the tires. Matt Fuchsia told Greg Biffle, right sides only. Hey,
Same command for leader Jimmy Johnson. It'll be 2 right side tires. He said the car is just a little bit lazy in the front. Slide air pressure adjustment to handle that. Waiting on the fuel to get to the end of this race. He is gone.
Jamie McMurray, Kyle Busch also in. Brad Keselowski taking over the race lead in the middle of this cycle. Doc?
There's the 18 car of Kyle Busch. You remember they were going to make it just on one more stop, and this is the stop they were waiting on. Got great fuel mileage. 4 tires, and they took 2 tires the previous time. Kyle driving from the back of the field. Not a good day, but now hoping to get a top 10 finish.
And Kyle has not been much of a factor in this race at all today here in Michigan.
We're talking about taking less time to get fuel than it used to. One thing that helps to get 2 tires right there in the green is that you can get a little closer to the wall. You can make that handoff a lot quicker, and you can make that happen in just a little bit less time than it will take to get 4 tires.
There's your leader, Brad Keselowski.
This time.
Gonna come in next lap. By the way, Tony Stewart being sent to the garage. I will confirm, but I believe he wasn't meeting the minimum speed anymore. His car was continuing to slow as the engine problems mount. Kevin Harvick in for his final pit stop as we wait for Keselowski to be in. Dave?
The car's been tight most of the day. Before the round started, Alan, his car was in the 16th position, so it's been a little bit of a struggle. This will be the final time you'll see the 29 car on pit road.
And the leader. About halfway down the pit lane is his stall, Mike.
And Alan, there's nothing that Brad Keselowski wants more than a win here at his home racetrack. Has it within his sights. They're going to go with a 2-tire change, right sides only. Keselowski very happy with the race car as they fill it up with gas. He's ready to pull away. Last stop for the day for Brad Keselowski.
You saw the 2-gas man strategy there by changing just the 2 tires. Here's Carl Edwards, who took over the lead as Stewart's car is pushed to the garage. Edwards followed down the pit lane by Martin Truex Jr. Here is Carl, Vince.
Remember, they're on the outside looking in as far as the spot in the chase is concerned. They need a win, but they're not going to get it today, or at least it doesn't look like it. It's going to be a 2-tire change. They're going to go up 1 round on the track bar to try to get him to roll a little freer. Doc?
Martin Truex said, you know, our car does not respond to 2 tires. It just doesn't at all. You know, we just can't go anywhere. Chad Johnston, crew chief, said, you know what? We don't have time. Right sides only. Slight air pressure. Got to get a control of fuel, and he did. He's away.
So that turns the lead over to Sam Hornish Jr. with Denny Hamlin, Trevor Bayne, Paul Menard, Landon Castle, Travis Kvapil, David Gilliland, all lead lap cars and all yet to make their stops. Fine run today for Hornish. Again, started at the back because Parker Kligerman qualified his car while he was in Montreal at the Nationwide Series race.
That puts Truex a lap down for the time being, as he can get by Sam Hornish here. But Sam has done a terrific job driving this race car. Really all the races that he's been in.
Finished 5th last week at Watkins Glen. Never had back-to-back top 10s in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Mike today. And this will not be his lap to pit yet again.
These cars have about 10 laps cushion. They made the caution flag stop, so they had about 10 laps extra fuel they can run before they have to make this last pit stop.
He's not that much slower than the car. 2
tires, track around the half.
They're just getting ready, but now not really that much slower than a car on brand new tires here.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why the strategy works, because the tires are not worth a lot. Just keep their speed.
Just once we finish the cycle of pit stops, the gap from Jimmy Johnson to Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a couple of seconds as Hornish comes in down the pit lane. And Denny Hamlin becomes the race leader. All right, Doc.
Going to be 2 right side tires, fuel. Got to be a clean stop. What about Sam Hornish from 0 to hero? Didn't have a cup ride back in July. Jumped in the car. What a great job. Top 5 last week. Trying for a top 5 or better today.
So Hornish rejoins. And now 2 more of the cars that have yet to pit make their way down the pit road. Denny Hamlin gives up the lead. Trevor Bayne follows him in. Paul Menard becomes the leader. 24 to go with make it 25 to go with these stops. Mike?
Denny Hamlin saying he's just a bit tight on exit. They've made a series of wedge adjustments throughout the course of the day. Nothing here as far as the chassis, just right side. Trying to get all the fuel in they can, and now Denny is away.
Had to make sure he didn't nose across the front line of that box with that fuel can still attached. Would have been a penalty. So Jimmy Johnson out in front. A few more cars to cycle through, then Johnson will go back to the lead. Or will he? Might be Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, Keselowski's team did a great job on that exchange of pit stops. They just stop a little later than Johnson. He's actually in front of Jimmy. He can make it the rest of the way, so puts that 2 car in the catbird seat for now.
Turn of events on that cycle of pit stops.
Yeah, Brad did a great job getting on the pit road.
23 to go. How's it going to turn out? And another change in the storyline of the Pure Michigan 400. Trevor Bayne, who had such
guys. We'll see what we do.
Had such a tremendous run going all day long, has hit the wall in the 21 car in turn 1 pretty solidly.
Yeah, you have to wonder if this is a result of maybe, as he came on the pit road a while ago, he might have slid the tires just a little bit and that got that left front, and then it blew out. It's unfortunate. Wood Brothers had a great car for Trevor here today.
See, the explosion of the tires blew the fender off. And you can see he got it against the wall on the right side a little bit. See just how destructive that tire is when it comes apart.
And so 4 cars had not yet made their stop under the caution flag, under the green flag rather, before the yellow waved. Paul Menard, Landon Castle, and Travis Kvapil had not yet stopped. Then you'll cycle back around to Brad Keselowski and Jimmy Johnson, who pits here besides the guys that didn't stop yet. Very few.
It's like Harvick, I think it's Kevin Harvick, maybe Jeff Burton, Eric Almirola. Take a wave around. I think Almirola might have gotten the lucky dog.
He did get the free pass there, yes.
Yeah, Sam Hornish comes on the pit road.
Yep. Hearing it's a vibration for the 22 car, Doc.
Exactly, Alan. He said a moment ago, said after that tire change came out, said, guys, we got something vibrating. So the yellow comes out. Couldn't have worked better for him. He'll come in and they'll go ahead and change all 4 tires. Hey, listen, Andy Peter, when you have a vibration, you got to change all 4 so you make sure you get it. Left side tires going on, and Sam's away.
Yeah, that's too bad, though. I mean, they had a really good track position. We're going to inherit some good track position from this. Now they're going to start back in the back again, and just 18 laps to go. Not a lot of time to get back to the front.
So in the middle of a lengthy cycle of green flag pit stops, Jimmy Johnson stops at lap 166. Brad Keselowski 3 laps later. Brad was 2.1 seconds behind Jimmy. When Jimmy pitted, he came out ahead of him and with the lead at that point.
Hell yeah, great job, guys. How long can we start going back into the lead? Less than 10 laps. It's all about me in the 48 right now. Keep me posted.
37.60, he run a 38 flat.
Tell you what, Jimmy, that 2 managed to get back out in front of us, man. He's going to be your leader. I don't know what you said there. I don't know how they pulled it off, but they did a damn good job.
job. Yeah, I was saying I could have used that information earlier so I didn't give up all this time. The poor man, I didn't catch it. I apologize.
Snuck it in on everybody. Made a great green flag stop. The 2-car.
18 laps to go. Who's going to win at Michigan?
The weekend of motorsports continues on the ESPN family of networks. It's the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals at 9 Eastern tonight on ESPN2. Next week, it's the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol, 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. Under the lights, it's the Sprint Cup Series, 7 o'clock Eastern. That is on ABC. Back here at Michigan, we are 184 laps complete and a little sneaky on the pit stop. Some people didn't quite even catch it, including Chad Knaus. Brad Keselowski beat Jimmy Johnson on that round of green flag stops, and that is why.
Sure is, and here, as fast as it is, 200 miles an hour, 300 feet per second, boy, in just a second. A little bit of time is a great distance on the racetrack as fast as we're going here at Michigan.
For that reason, the Goodyear's superior performer today is Brad Keselowski and his crew. A little bit interesting if you look at the top drivers. You've got Brad Keselowski in the Dodge. The next 3 cars on the track, Hendrick Motorsports engines, and then the next 3 cars, Roush Yates engines.
I tell you what, though, it's late in the race with 16 laps to go. Those 3 Chevrolets of Johnson, Kane, and Earnhardt Jr., they're going to be trying to rough up Keselowski on this restart, give him some good drafting help down that front straightaway. I wouldn't want to be Keselowski. I'd have to get through the gearbox real quick, get out of there, get the lead so those guys can't gang up on me. That's going to be a tough restart for Brad.
Yeah, but you can bet the cat in the hat there, Jack Roush. He loves this place too. Biffle's been really fast. Edwards is right there. We know he's hungry. And how about Marcus Ambrose? If he could get in and pull up a win, it would really upset our wild card.
It truly would, but how about Marcus? How about Martin Truex Jr.? He has also held tough today, been very fast, as well as Clint Boyer. Those 2 Toyotas are hanging on in 8th and 9th.
Where are we right now? Michigan. How close are we to Detroit? Very close. Very, very big day for the Big 3. We've been keeping a track on Twitter what you guys are thinking at home. Marty Smith is with us in the pit studio. What's happening?
Well, Nicole, what's trending right now certainly is what Paul Wolf and Brad Keselowski have now pulled off as the race leaders. Everyone talking about this. Warlick 14 says that, in fact, they're the best driver-crew chief tandem in the business this year. We've all been so impressed over the past 2 years with how well they have come together. They're so cohesive with one another, and their communication is so good. Dale and Andy, please discuss that. What is so great about these two that has made them a championship contender?
I think they're a lot alike. They're both they think a lot. They don't just try to outwork everybody or do, which is it's beneficial. But they are very smart about what they're doing, and they're always thinking. Brad's always thinking in the car, and I know as a crew chief, I like that. I like somebody that's helping me.
Yeah, he does that, but one thing, if that driver has confidence in the crew chief and the calls that he's making, he puts that in his hand, you can do a lot of things as a driver inside that race car, and Brad Keselowski is on board with Paul Wolf. They are a combination to be reckoned with.
So doubled up for the restart. 14 laps to go. The fuel mileage, that's not a factor in deciding this one. Remember, the restarts in this race have been fairly wild, and it's still fast, and it's still slippery, and it's still not a 5-wide Michigan like it used to be with this new pavement. They're going to be fighting for a lot of ground here as we go racing and sort this out.
Green flag, green flag.
Greg Biffle charging down low in the 16 car.
Casey Kane got a terrible restart there. You can see how far he's dropped back, still losing spots.
Five car back there racing for 7th now. And they're 3 wide behind him.
Kyle Busch had finally positioned himself as he's sideways off of turn 4. Positions himself up in the top 10. That might cost him a little bit there.
Keselowski, Johnson.
I love you, Dale Jr.
Greg Biffle, top 3, putting a little gap on 4th place. Carl Edwards sliding ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. there. with Ambrose and Kane.
This is going to be a fight. I think that 48 car is definitely better than the 2, but at that aero thing, that they don't have a lot of room to race here, and I think it could be the difference.
Yeah, Johnson's going to have to make this pass on the inside. Does he have enough down force and side force on that getting to the inside to make the pass on Brad Keselowski?
If you like your numbers, championship leader coming into this race has won it the last 2 years. .94.9 mile-an-hour lap last time for Brad Keselowski. With Jimmy Johnson right there.
Yeah, they've really ramped it up. First time down under the 37-second bracket that we've seen in quite a while in this race. Time to go.
Like I said, I really believe that this 48's better than the 2. I just don't know that he can make the pass because I don't know that it's really probably going to take a mistake by Keselowski for that to happen.
And if they get side by side, can Biffle close in quickly and make it a three-way race?
Yeah, absolutely. And is Johnson going to have to get right to the bumper to really loosen Keselowski up to make that mistake?
Just sneaks the left headlight out to 1 and 2 here.
Oh, there's
the move. He's not going to give it up easily, though.
I don't think he can do anything about it now.
Still leader, 48. All right, baby, let's air that thing out. Don't look back.
I think that just too much car there. I think Johnson's car is just too strong.
Yeah, and he did everything they needed to do. He got on the bumper, down on the inside, loosened the 2 car up. Nothing that Brad Keselowski can do in that situation. Now he's got to deal with Biffle.
For second place. And hanging on again is the 2.
Biffle have enough to catch Jimmy.
He's going to have to hurry.
Yeah, running out. Time's running out.
Yep. Here's the change for the lead with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, well, you can see, he'd already gotten loose.
Yeah, he got loose before Jimmy got to the bumper.
Brad tried to come back and hang on that quarter panel, but
coming to you inside. Big opening behind him.
never gets old. And no matter how much you accomplished, there's still got to be a little bit of a thrill to doing something you haven't been able to do before, right? This is one of those 5 tracks where Jimmy Johnson has never won a race.
Yeah, it's really amazed me when I look at that stat thinking that. And, of course, there have been other opportunities they've had leading races trying to stretch their mileage, and it didn't just work out for them. So it's not like they haven't put themselves in a position. But this is pretty just, I think what we've been seeing coming here today, the dominance that we talked about at Indianapolis, kind of carrying over here. He was on pace to win at Pocono. They really have things, as you said, Andy, figured out, especially in the aero department over here.
Six to go. Biffle closing in on that 48 car.
Yeah, there was about a half a second difference last lap.
Smoke from the 48 car.
Are you kidding me? Just make sure we finish it, bud.
Other Hendrick Motorsports cars with engine troubles earlier today. Inside of 6 laps to go, Johnson loses the lead, Dave.
A lap ago, he said motor laying down, and they radioed back as if they weren't sure if he was kidding or not. He's not.
And there it goes.
Might bring a caution out.
Stay on the bottom. That's it, it's dead.
You can see the water coming out of the exhaust pipe.
From leading the race with 6 laps to go to headed for the garage with 5 laps to go for Jimmy Johnson. Wow.
Another example of why they haven't won here. Just unfortunate luck, but something going on with that engine department there today. It's 3 of them now.
Well, we talked about how hard this track is on engines. It's really been hard on the Hendrick engines today.
Yeah, they had ramped up the speeds. We noted that here on this after this last green flag, that they'd really ramped up and run some of the fastest laps of the day.
That's amazing.
Days like this, you go back and wish you'd run 5 or 10 laps less of practice.
Well, remember, they changed an engine before the practice, too. That engine didn't even have the Friday practice and qualifying on it. So close, so many times at this racetrack. Look at that, 3 times Jimmy's been the guy passed for the final lead change. Including one where he ran out of fuel with the finish in sight.
I don't care how many races you win or have won, to lose one this close to the end and have a dominant car hurts bad.
Well, the picture has changed. And certainly the post-race review for the Hendrick organization will be an intense one, because things certainly didn't turn out today as they would have liked under the hood.
No, and as they look towards the chase, there's 5 mile-and-a-half tracks in that chase. A lot of RPMs turned at those tracks too, so something they'll be looking into. See the disappointment with Jimmy right now.
And who can blame him? So, the caution flag, the cleanup, setting up a green-white checker finish here at Michigan. As Jimmy walks straight past the transporter and out to the motor coach lot to go gather his thoughts. Some pit stops. Kenseth, Harvick, Burton, Bain, and Gilliland in under the caution before what will be a green-white checker finish.
All the players stayed out. Looks like Keselowski's going to start on the inside. We'll have, looks like Carl Edwards right behind him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will get to start up on the outside lane behind Biffle, the leader.
Yeah, he gave Keselowski a great push on that last one. Will he give Biffle that same type of push here?
So stories here. Greg Biffle driving for Jack Roush. Roush Industries, headquartered in Livonia, Michigan, outside of Detroit. This track always so important to Jack, winning here. Talked about the importance to the manufacturers. This is the owner's home track, and it's always huge for him. He's had a great deal of success at this racetrack. And for Brad Keselowski, home, Rochester Hills, Michigan. He's won Nationwide Series races here. A Sprint Cup win, he said, coming into the weekend would be huge for me and my family. Plus, of course, Dodge. And what a win here would mean for them as they prepare, at least for now, to exit the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at the end of the year.
Yeah, but look in third place. You got Carl Edwards. He doesn't have a win so far. He really needs one. If anybody in that top 5 needs a win, right now it's Carl Edwards.
And he's pretty much said he was willing to do anything to go to victory lane here.
But here we go.
One other angle on that whole Brad Keselowski Dodge story is the captain, the team owner Roger Penske. This is his hometown as well. Roger living in the Detroit area. Certainly very involved in the civic affairs of the community and headed up the Super Bowl host committee. And his corporation based here as well. Some thoughts from pit road before the restart. Doc?
We talked about how important this racetrack is to Jack Roush, the home track, man. You guys got enough to be able to hang on and keep that Dodge off?
I think so. We've had a good car all day. I kind of got him behind there a little bit on pit strategy there. We kind of got off sequence there. The 48 and the 88 guys a little bit behind, but I think we're pretty good. All we got to do is get a good clean restart here and get clear of the 2 and set sail from there. See where you're at.
Okay, Greg Biffle is pumped. Mike.
Paul Wolfe now at the helm. You guys are in position once again. It seems like you got a second chance at getting this victory. What are you telling your driver?
Well, he knows what to do. He's going to do the best job he can. Everybody on the Miller Lite teams did a great job today executing. We don't quite have the speed as the 48 and 16 there, but we got guys that are working as hard as they can, and we continue to put ourselves in position. That's all we can ask for right now.
The X Factor, Alan, they said they might be just a little close on fuel.
And we saw the guys shutting them off to save some fuel here. So this is the first of potentially 3 attempts at a green-white checker finish. They throw the green flag. If the race is under caution at its scheduled conclusion in order to try and give the fans a green flag finish, NASCAR extends the race, will wave the green flag, they'll race a lap. If they're still under the green when they take the white flag, the next flag ends the race, be it either the caution or the checkered flag. Greg Biffle with Brad Keselowski to his inside. Row number 2, Carl Edwards and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Green flag. Casey Kane to the bottom, 3 wide in the 5 car.
All of that happened just like Greg Biffle would have planned it out. He got a great jump, and the others were racing hard. Keselowski coming at him, though.
I think Keselowski did a good job to fend off the 5-car Casey Kane. Now he's on Biffle.
Got a shot to win. Here they come to the white flag.
Flag one more time around.
Last lap at Michigan. Biffle in the 16, Keselowski in the 2 for the win. Half a lap to go. Will he get a shot? Keselowski trying to wheel it. It's not sticking. Greg Biffle entered the race second in the championship. He leaves with the point lead. Biffle wins at Michigan. Keselowski barely over Kane for second.
Awesome job. Was even cooler the first. Hit a Ford, thanks Ford, that was awesome.
Remarkable turn of events late in this one. First, Brad Keselowski's team. Strategy, driver combination gets ahead of Jimmy Johnson on a series of pit stops. Johnson takes the lead back. Then Johnson's engine fails. Biffle gets a chance to race for the win and scores the victory today. His second win of the year and the 12th victory at this racetrack for Jack Roush, breaking the tie with the Wood brothers for most all-time victories at this Speedway. How about it, Vince?
Big win for this 16 on a number of different levels, Matt Pusher. What stands out most about what means the greatest about this victory?
I don't even know what to say right now. Greg Biffle, I mean, I'm just blessed to be able to work with Amanda, the talent, this team. You know, this team, we were off on Friday. We didn't go where we needed to be. We sat down, we worked on our stuff, got the stuff right yesterday, and it just paid off. You know, I got a little behind there. I got a little off sequence for that 48 and the 88, and I kind of was kicking myself in the butt for that. But, you know, Greg just made up the difference, and he wasn't taking second, I can tell you that. You know, he just did a heck of a job.
The championship leader, congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Well, for Greg Biffle, this is not new for him. He's won here at Michigan 3 times, but he's forgotten how to get to victory lane because you normally enter there from pit road.
He's there nonetheless.
Yes, he is. Sure, we'll improvise. Brad Keselowski finishing second, Earnhardt Jr. finishing 4th. Brad had to hold off Casey Kane at the stripe for that runner-up spot after driving hard into turn 3 to see if he could get to Greg Biffle. Bonus points for the chase reseeding for the Biff.
Yeah, like that, and a lot of confidence for this race team as they get ready. Greg Biffle's been telling us they had the speed to make a difference whenever they get to the chase. They just wanted to get some more bonus points, a little momentum heading into the chase. They got it.
So in his owner's hometown, and you heard him mention the manufacturer and the importance there on the radios on the cool-down lap. A big day for Greg Biffle and his team. We head down to Victory Lane, presented by Pennzoil.
Greg Biffle, third win at Michigan, second win of the year. Matt Pusha getting doused by the crew. We'll get over here, and Greg and Matt trying to catch their breath. Hey, Greg, how important is today to you, to Jack Roush, and to Ford here in Michigan?
Well, it's pretty important. You know, we've been working really hard to get back into Victory Lane and catch up to those Hendrick cars. And I'll tell you what, I was catching the 48 a tiny bit. I don't know if I could have caught him or not, but well, it's too bad his engine went away. We wanted to race him clean for the win, but I tell you, everybody's just been working so hard, standing behind this 3M Ford, Coke, and all the fans and Sprint. This series is a lot of fun, and we're going to make a run at the title. I know they don't talk about us a lot, but they will when we get to Vegas.
Not only the race win, but now the points lead by 20 points. What about this team? What's that mean for you guys headed to the chase?
Yeah, it feels really good. You know, it doesn't mean a lot to lead the points right now. It does for us personally as a team, but as far as the championship goes, it isn't. We were going to be the point leader leaving Watkins Glen. I slid in that oil and gave it 2 spots. I felt really bad for the guys. I gave it up, but I got it back here.
Everybody wants to know, you talked about the 48. I heard you on the radio when you went by the 2 car. You said, he's next, I'm going to get him. Do you think if he hadn't had a problem, you could have caught him? Do you have enough to get there?
Well, I was driving in too low down there, and then I drove it in the top at 3 and 4, and I got a huge run. I could beat him down here, but I couldn't beat him in 3 and 4, and I started getting a huge run off, and I pulled in about 5 car lengths on him, and then his motor went out. So with 8 laps to go, I could have got to his bumper, I think. I don't know if I could have got by him, but I would have used the bumper if I had to, if I got to him.
Hey, congratulations, Mr. Points Leader. Great day.
Thanks.
Greg Biffle gets up his 3rd win at Michigan, his 2nd win of the year in NASCAR Sprint Cup competition. Alan?
And while the Biff celebrates in Victory Lane, there's the bitter disappointment. Just as a week ago, when someone who looked to have a win in hand saw it slip away. Jimmy Johnson leaving the racetrack. Here's a little different view of the burnouts. Greg Biffle celebrating in Victory Lane here at the Michigan International Speedway. He's led a lot of laps and not won races before. Well, today he did not lead the most laps, but he is celebrating in Victory Lane. Brad Keselowski finished 2nd today, Mike.
Yeah, very strong effort, but for the hometown boy, not quite enough. It came down to that final restart. You and Greg Biffle, take me through it.
Yeah, Greg just did a great job. He had a fast car and passed me legit, and I couldn't keep up with him, but he did a great job. And between the 48, the 16, and the 55, those 3 cars were just, I think, class of the field today. And my team just did an awesome job executing on pit road and strategy and everything it takes to make it happen, to get us up to the front. But we just needed that little bit more speed to be able to get with him. But I'll tell you what, it felt good to be racing up there at my home track here in Michigan. There's nothing more I want than to win here, but I mean, you can feel a little bit of foreshadowing going on with the chase coming on and all them cars running right by each other. And it's an honor to get to race with guys like Jimmy and Greg and be door-to-door. And if my team can continue to execute like they did today, I think we got a real shot at this championship. So I'm very, very proud.
And the 7th consecutive top 10 finish for Brad Keselowski, a career best, obviously performing at a very high level as we get toward the end of the regular season, Vince.
4th place finish for Dale Earnhardt Jr. today. Jr., after the way last week ended, I know how disappointed you were with the spin and then the crash in practice. How important was it to come back and have the kind of day you had here today?
I felt like I was under a lot of pressure just not to make any more mistakes. I'd spun out twice in the last 2 weeks on my own, and that's just something I try not to have happen, and I try not to have that kind of reputation. I felt real bad last night about wrecking the car and all the work the guys had to do. They had to stand in the garage a little extra yesterday to get this car today ready, and they just poured through so many documents and notes on that car to try to get competitive and put it on the starting grid this morning. They did an awesome job, so I give my crew and all those guys all the credit for today, and Steve did a good job getting us some track position with his pit strategy and give us the opportunity to get a good run. We had a pretty good car, maybe not quite enough to win, but we had good speed.
You got up on the wheel too, well done.
Thank you, sir.
Dale Jr. Alan?
Vince, thanks. And as we continue our post-race coverage, so many different things to touch on after what was a very eventful day here at Michigan. Let's start with the championship standings. So Greg Biffle goes to the top. Jimmy Johnson falls down to 4th. And my eyes are drawn to Tony Stewart, just 34 points ahead of 11th with 3 races to go.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin there, just 33 ahead. That means Casey Kane is only 33 out. If he takes his 2 wins up in there, how does that shuffle things outside the top 10? So a lot to talk about and look at.
Yeah, they're still pretty dynamic as how these cars are going to line up when the chase cutoff comes. But I see a lot of problems in that Hendrick organization right now. These engine issues that they have plenty of speed, but their durability is definitely in question as they go into the chase.
So Greg Biffle, the new championship leader. Matt Kenseth is now 2nd in points. And Kenseth wound up today and maybe not having the finish he quite hoped for. Let's hear from him. Dave?
Yeah, but a pretty amazing turnaround when you think about it. A flat right rear tire, a car that was unruly to say the least. Matt, how'd you come home 17th and gain a spot in the points?
Well, we gained a spot in the points because the guy ahead of me blew up. And we came home 17th because we just had everything go wrong. So it was really an uphill battle for our 5th, 3rd Ford Fusion. But really happy for Greg and them guys that won. I think as an organization we really needed a win. And all our cars seem to be pretty fast today. So for us, the biggest challenge is we were really good in the beginning. As soon as the sun came out, we were just kind of junk. And the farther we got back and more problems we had, the tougher it was for us.
All right, still in championship hunt. Very good today at the end, but a tough way to get there for Matt. Dr. Punch?
And Casey Kane, when the day began, everyone's talking about watch the 5 car. Well, on a restart, here you came. It looked like you had a shot.
Yeah, we had a good last restart. Our Farmers Insurance Chevrolet took off well, and our engine ran great. We had a really fast car all day long, but weren't able to get to the leaders. They had kind of got up there, and but the restarts were big today. That was crucial points, was either getting past or trying to pass on restarts.
Casey Kane finishing 3rd. By the way, the 4th top 3 finish for Kane in the last 7 races. How about that for momentum, Nicole?
How about that, considering he was wrecking on lap 64? Tonight on baseball's biggest stage, Adrian Gonzalez and the Red Sox are in the Bronx to take on division rival, the Yankees, led by Derek Jeter. That is at 8 on ESPN, and then tomorrow at 10 on ESPN2. It's another division rivalry to determine first place in the NL West. Buster Posey and the Giants face Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. Sports Center will be seen in San Francisco and LA markets. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell, and Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA.
One of my favorites.
Last week's winner, Marcus Ambrose. A solid performance today, Mike.
Yeah, the momentum continues. Another top 5 for Marcos Ambrose. A hard-fought battle this afternoon. How would you assess it?
It's a really strong day for the Stanley Ford Rich Petty Motorsports team. You know, we came off a win. Sometimes you struggle to keep that mojo going, but we had a fast car all day. Got track position there late, really made the most of it. I just got to wind that race back because I was holding back Biffle there with about 25, 30 laps to go, and he won. So I got to look about where I lost that race, but really proud of my team, proud of my guys, and carry that momentum through. We've got to win races, so it's great to run top 5, but winning's what it's all about for us.
Marcos Ambrose said at the beginning of the weekend that he was in full attack mode. He proved it again today, Vince.
With Carl Edwards, who finishes 6th this afternoon. And Carl, we talked before the race about the urgency that you feel as time is winding down to win a race and get in the chase. Car was pretty good today. What was the difference?
The car was really good, and we had a gift with that last restart. We just weren't able to capitalize like Greg was. He did a great job. I'm proud that there's a Ford in victory line. I wish it was the 99 Geek Squad Ford. We had Best Buy, Geek Squad, a whole bunch of folks here this weekend, and our whole Fastenal team. We've got to go get it done the next 3 weeks, and this week shows us, at least like you said before we got on it, we've got the speed. We just got to go get it done, and we got to take advantage whenever we can. It was really close today, but trust me, we don't give up. We got 3 races. We can do this.
Good luck at Bristol.
Thank you, man.
Nicole?
3 races until the chase, and you can join us at the racetrack next weekend. We are at Bristol, followed by Atlanta, and then Richmond, and then the final 10 of the season. Tickets available on NASCAR.com/tickets. Hendrick Motorsports lost 4 engines this weekend, 2 with Jimmy Johnson, 1 with Jeff Gordon, and then another one with Stuart Haas Racing and Tony Stewart. Probably not something they need to worry about next weekend, but Atlanta, possibly.
Yeah, that's what's got me concerned, Nicole. Next week at Bristol, I mean, it's all about, getting RPMs down low and getting them up high, typical short track racing. But when they get to Atlanta, where they got high sustained RPMs, like here at Michigan, guys, that's what's really got me concerned. They got a couple weeks to get it fixed, find out what's going on with these engines, because they cannot have any of these problems going to a track like Atlanta.
Well, and we heard it was valve springs, and if it is valve springs, what happens is valve springs come in batches. The teams do not build valve springs.
Yeah,
they don't make them. They have to buy them.
That's right.
It's different batches of wire, so I'm sure they're going to be all over it, but I think they're going to find that they got a bad batch of valve springs.
Yeah, that wire, they buy that in bulk. Sometimes it has a little titanium in it, and that's what causes these valve springs to go bad. But for me, the focus was obviously on Brad Keselowski and Greg Biffle. Sam Hornish did an outstanding job today, considering he was in Montreal yesterday racing the Nationwide car. He was excellent today. He finished 12th. He should have finished in the top 5. He did a wonderful job. We're going to give Sam Hornish some love because he deserves it today.
Let's head back down to victory lane with another happy camper after this one today. He happens to be the winning owner. Doc?
And he's dodging the champagne spray right now, Nicole. An hour away in Livonia, Michigan, the headquarters for Roush Industries, and hundreds of employees here today. What does this mean to you, Jack?
Yeah, we had a really good turnout today. It's important to win at Ford's backyard, General Motors, and so it's always important to the manufacturers to do well here. We hadn't run as well as we needed to. Our engines were durable today, which is probably their strongest thing. And the driver cars were well driven. The cars had good speed, but other teams had trouble that might have been able to beat us.
I haven't seen you smile that much. You came walking across pit road with some Ford executives around you. This has to give you pretty good pleasure.
Yeah, it does give me a good play. There's an expectation that we really put on our best face here, and today it worked out for us.
All right, Jack Roush, we'll let you go celebrate with your team. And 22 wins in major NASCAR competition for Roush here, now 12 in Sprint Cup. Nicole?
Thank you, Doc. We were talking earlier about a couple of Roush Fenway drivers, including Greg Biffle, and their battle to prove that they're relevant, to prove that they belong at top, and their goal is to win the points in the regular season. And look who's there right now, Greg Biffle.
Biffle's just doing a fantastic job. And let's face it, though, the 48 car Jimmy Johnson had these guys beat today. But hey, this is racing, and things like this happen, and Biffle was there to take advantage of it. They probably were the second fastest car, Greg Biffle, I would say. But he got it done. Now he's our points leader. And the cat and the hat's all happy. The Ford guys are happy.
That's right.
And they won the manufacturers' battle right here in Detroit City.
Unfortunately, we heard Greg say we haven't been giving him any love. He was a part of our show earlier today, and it got deleted because we had so much going on. But we were going to talk about...
Who talked too much?
Yeah, well, you guys talk too much. we were going to talk about Greg Biffle because Greg, he has led a lot of laps this racetrack. He hadn't been to victory lane before today. We recognized that. We thought he could be a threat, but we just didn't know he was going to go out and take care of business like he did.
Yeah, he hadn't been to victory lane in the last 4
When
after
you're under
leading.
the radar, no pressure. We keep the pressure off him. Stay under
That's
the
right,
radar,
don't say
Greg.
anything.
Stay under
Stay
the
away from
radar.
him.
Stay under the radar.
Final thoughts as we head into Bristol. We've got a couple of drivers obviously looking for wins. We've got 3 races to go just before the wild card. You pointed out Carl Edwards and saying Atlanta may be his best shot, but he's awfully good at Bristol as well.
Yeah, he's pretty good at Bristol, but I just don't look for him to win at Bristol. I don't. I'm actually looking at Kyle Busch, or I'm looking at the Brad Keselowski to win Bristol. Those guys are very strong there. But when you get to Atlanta, Georgia, the following week, Carl Edwards is the guy that I'm looking to win that race. He needs to win that thing. He's won it before. He's fantastic there. That could get him in the chase. And I think that's, if you talk to Carl, he's probably got that one eyeballed also.
Kyle's won 5 times at Bristol. I think he's going to be the guy to beat when we go there next week. I think he could be right at Atlanta, but he's going to have to beat Jimmy Johnson, I do think, when it comes down to it, Atlanta, because they're going to bounce back over at that the Hendrick arsenal. I know they're working on it right now. They'll have something special going forward these next few weeks.
Oh, yeah, I can tell you the phone lines will be burning up fixing that. But I'm going to tell you, you got to throw a shout-out again to Brad Keselowski and Paul Wolf.
Yeah.
Second again this week. Great pitch strategy. I think he's going to be a factor next week. But I think the Toyotas are going to be strong at Bristol. I mean, you look at Martin Truex runs good there. Clint Boyer runs good.
And they were very good in the spring.
Today.
Very good in the spring.
Today,
the racing is not finished. We still have some more to watch this evening. It's the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. And, of course, next weekend we go to Bristol, the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol, 7 o'clock Eastern on Friday. That is on ESPN. And the Sprint Cup Series under the lights, 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday on ABC. Final thoughts as we wrap things up from Michigan.
Well, this one's done. Let's go to Bristol. Everybody get your Hans devices. Get ready. There's only one groove around that racetrack, We are going to get it on in Bristol.
How many times are you going to yell Junior next week?
Finished 4th today.
He did
Might
a
be
good
up front
job.
next week.
I got to tell you guys, I'm in total disbelief that Jimmy Johnson blew up with 5 laps to go, and Hendrick had that many problems with engines. Very, very uncharacteristic.
Hadn't Ray Evernham been working over there on them engines?
6 drivers have won multiple races this year. Greg Biffle added his name to that list today. Congratulations once again. Biffle in victory lane in Michigan. Brad Keselowski finished 2nd. Casey Kane bounced back. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished 4th. Marcus Ambrose, that's another guy to keep an eye on next weekend.
Thunder Valley, baby.
He's awfully good in Bristol.
Man, let's get it on.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Very happy campers in victory lane. Greg Biffle, 2 wins this season, and he exits Michigan as the points leader. He made everyone for Ford very happy in the backyard of the Big 3.
A lot of speed.
Yep.
200-mile-an-hour speeds we saw today. Huge wrecks out of Mark Martin. Can't wait for next week, man.
Yep.
It will be good. Congrats again to a very happy Greg Biffle. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next weekend.